Happy final Saturday of 2023. Happy whatever. Just got done watching World's End. We'll talk about that straight up. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center Saturday night overnight stream. One of maybe the next 15 hours of streaming that you'll see from me between now and by the end of 2023 tomorrow. The plan is tomorrow, and I will make these events later on this evening. We will start probably at noon with the raid. I switched it up, noon with the raid, 2:00 midnight meat train, and then we'll go from 4 to 8. We will do Zack Snyder's Justice League. That will be our fundraising experience there that we're going to have. Right now we're at $3,100 even. Hopefully we can inch even closer to our goal tonight. Wishful thinking is that we can reach 5,000 tomorrow night. Don't think it's going to happen, but goals are goals. I mean, it will be cool. We could wrap up 2023 with 5,000, so we can go ahead and increase that goal or decide where we're going to do that. But hey, whatever happens. Tonight's topics, the album of the week is going to be Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, probably one of the most famous and successful albums of all time. Comic book turning story, as promised, will be The Batman Who Laughed, not just his first appearances, but the overall origin of the character and influences and everything like that. We're going to be talking a little bit more Rebel Moon. It's no longer number one on Netflix, but I don't think that really matters anymore. So we'll go over that. I mean, I'm pretty sure all of you have probably watched it an additional couple of times since last we talked. What else is on the agenda here before I can go to we're going to talk some Doctor Who. Now that we've seen all the Christmas specials and the first full episode of the 15th Doctor, going to go over how I feel about that. Let me go ahead and bring in Brad there. I saw you backstage, and I was wondering, is he really doing this, or was that a mistake?
Oh yeah, I forgot to. Yeah, that's why I'm still working it up. My courage.
That's why I didn't put you in. I'm not sure if this is what he really means to do. Yeah, Brad was backstage with his true face. So yeah, he was.
That's one of my year's resolutions, guys. It's like I want to do that by the time we get to Scargiver for the next Rebel Moon charity stream. That's why I want to join everybody fully. Then you just get over my camera phobia. But until that's again, like I said, I have multiple New Year's resolutions because I always feel like there's multiple areas in life you can always improve in. And that's one of them for me.
Well, like I said, if I'd have put you on, you look exactly like you do. I mean, no one would have been. The only shock would have been but I wasn't 100% sure that you. So I waited. That's why I stalled. I'm like,
that's cool. Well, it would have been like because I'm out, on the back porch. So it's like, then it would have been like, oh, it's like everyone would have seen like nighttime because usually I'm doing it inside, but I decided to take it outside, for the last Saturday night stream of the year.
Yeah, hopefully, like I said, it's pretty chilly out there. Not too
I'm
bad.
bundled up, so I'm okay.
Yeah, we didn't get the rain that day we were promised. Thank God, because I'm really tired of the rain. I mean, damn. All right, so I just got done watching AEW World, and since I know you guys are not all wrestling fans, I don't care. I'm sorry, I am. Just deal with it.
I was actually just about to mention that because I saw RJ tweet out something earlier about that this I can tell the reception has not been positive when he tweeted like the downfall of the AEW needs to be studied. So I would like to take it from there, man.
I responded to that. I'm like, dude, I rarely respond to tweets, but I'm like, yeah, well, when it happens, we can talk about it. But I don't think that AEW is going anywhere. Although this particular pay-per-view, I thought was a solid pay-per-view. But it was all revolving around a particular mystery person that ended up being who everybody guessed it was. And I know I've been watching wrestling so long that I can probably, between me and Armando, the guy who comes on with me, when it comes to wrestling, we can probably call a lot of stuff. But when it gets to the point where it was that obvious, I'm like, dude, throw me a curveball. Hold on, I'm texting him right now. I mean, when it was revealed who it is, and we'll get to that. I'm gonna run down the matches because like I said, I know There are some of you in there. I know Aaron's a wrestling fan, so it'll be me and her versus the world. Let's start with okay. So we have Willow Nightingale defeated.
And by the way, just real quick, speaking of Aaron, yeah, she's given a little timeline of herself. So 8 hours still new for her. So hi there, everyone, Aaron.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot the time difference. Is it 12 hours, 14 hours?
Yeah.
So hold on for a second. All right. So Chris Statlander. Okay, Willow Nightingale beat Nightingale. I can't talk today. Defeated Chris Statlander by pinfall. That was an earlier match. Kill Switch, which was big dinosaur dude, won the last eliminating, beating Trent Bernera. Those were the dark matches. I didn't really. And Hook defeated Wheeler Yuta. I thought a match that was could have been up on the card, but he beat him by submission, which I thought was a clean win. Black Bolt Combat Club with Brian Danielson beat Mark Briscoe. Daniel Garcia defeated Brody King, Jay White, Jay Lethal, and Rush. This match didn't make any sense to me. I know they did some build up to it, but where's the Bullet Club when Jay White's around? And this match was kind of a thrown together match, in my opinion. Wasn't the biggest fan of it. Quality wise, it was okay, but and I don't always need a big giant story for a match. But this one with the different things that all these guys were involved in, Miro defeated Andrade when CJ, his wife, Miro's wife, turns on him. I think Andrade's leaving the company. His contract is up, so I think that was a good send out. But it's good for them to be back together again. Timeless Tony Storm with Luther defeated Riho. I actually thought this was a good match. For those of you guys don't know, Riho, she's a Japanese female wrestler. She's like 90 pounds, and she has the amazing ability to sell these matches that she's in with much larger opponents. She's been in a ring with a 200-pound woman and was able to sell it and sell a victory over it. So wrestling being, what it is, choreographed dance like that, for somebody that nimble and that light to be able to do that, and she did it again tonight because Toni Storm is considerably bigger than she is, was a good match. Yeah. All right. Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana defeated Dustin Rhodes. This was a match that was not supposed to happen. Keith Lee, I guess, was dealing with an injury that just got aggravated. So he couldn't be there. So, the old faithful Dustin Rhodes, they put him in. He actually put on for an impromptu match. He put on a great match. He's always at 52, 53 years old. He's always out there working hard like he's in his 20s. Scares me sometimes. But they're pushing Swerve Strickland, so I didn't expect him to win this match. The Sex Gods. There's a lot of underlying story there with Chris Jericho and Sammy Guerrero and Darby Allin defeated Ricky Starks, Big Bill, and the Don Callis family. It was an 8-man tag. I don't like 8-man tag team matches. They usually dilute the talents of the matches. But the big story here, in my opinion, and I'm not going to go into too much into it because there's still a lot known. There was some allegations about Chris Jericho earlier in the day, and he was heavily booed because of those allegations. I'll just leave that there. Julia Hart defeated Abandon for the TNT title. She defended her title. Abandon's just weird to look at because she's got that weird eyes, contacts, and blood, and just crazy shit. She's a very talented wrestler, though, and Julia Hart is getting better. Her interest is like a female Undertaker. Enjoyed that match. This match was stupid. Edge, Adam Copeland defeated Christian Cage with Shayna Wayne, the whole thing, and then fucking Kill Switch Luchasaurus comes out with his contract to cash in his contract for the TNT title, and Christian Cage ends up convincing him to give it to him, and then he defeats Adam Copeland, and so Adam Copeland's champion for like a minute. It was stupid. Some old WWE shit that they would do on a pay-per-view. Match of the night. Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley put on a classic for the Continental Finals, which is basically AEW's version of the G1. I felt the chest slaps. I'm clutching my chest because they're slapping the shit out of each other. And this ain't fake. You can only fake so much in wrestling. But when your skin is doing this and I can hear it, and it's like echoing throughout an arena, that shit's hurting. And when you look at their chest, They're the whelps and the blood vessels. And I'm like, I'm 3,000 miles away because they're in Long Island or whatever. And I'm like, damn, both of you. They put on a great match, and Eddie Kingston ends up winning. Little bit predictable because they told you a story about a full circle story with Eddie Kingston putting his Ring of Honor title and his New Japan Strong titles on the line, and those mean everything to him. So once they did that, I kind of knew that they weren't going to let it. But to be honest with you, I was okay with that one. Then the match of the night. The match itself was great, actually. Samoa Joe put it Samoa Joe. I mean, he's underrated in my opinion, and I understand now why they did this because MJF is broken up, and I just saw the story that Mondo sent me about the backstory about him being just needing time to heal because he's held that belt for over a year. He's headlined. He's not Roman Reigns, so he actually defends the title. So he needed some time off. I do believe he's already been re-signed, so I think that's good there. Samoa Joe won by technical submission. It ended up being a clean win. Afterwards, we finally get the revelation of the devil, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? It was who everybody was saying it was gonna be, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, it's got to be somebody else because it can't be that easy. That's like, why do I watch Scooby-Doo? That's like unmasking the dude after the opening credits. You didn't even try to hide that. And so the devil was Adam Cole. Sorry for spoilers. You should have been watching it live. It's Adam Cole, and the way they did it was kind of cool, but it was the Kingdom. They didn't even try to mask anything. It ends up being the Kingdom. So I'm like, I mean, like I said, not a bad pay-per-view, but that storyline went on long enough to where I wanted a little bit of a surprise. I want to be surprised as a wrestling fan. I don't want to be able to call shit that easy. I should be working for you then. I mean, damn. But like I said, the match itself was solid. Samoa Joe is your new AEW championship, which I am thrilled with. They never put that strap on him in AEW when they started that feud with Brock Lesnar and him, where he comes in, jumps into the ring, and headbutts Brock Lesnar, only to job to Brock Lesnar for forever, and then Brock Lesnar does his usual disappearing act. I'm kind of hoping that because Brock Lesnar is not signed, if Brock Lesnar was not the guy who shows up on Monday nights of Raw for the day one, thing because they rumored the former champion. If I'm Tony Khan, I empty the bank and I want Samoa Joe. I don't care if you build up the match or not. Give me Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar. For real this time. Not bullshit. For real. I'd buy that. But solid pay-per-view, solid, but a little bit on the predictable side, man. I mean, I stopped watching WWE for a while because it for most part, because you could call the next move from 5 miles away. I don't want to, AEW still puts on for me a better product, but at the same time, and I understand injuries and stuff, kind of shape your destiny sometime. But damn, dude, could you throw me a little nugget of surprise? I mean, wow. All right, well, let me. Anybody who's asking to come in, if we have time towards the end of the show, then we'll open up.
Okay. My dog might want to. If you can hear anything running around squeaking in the background, that's him.
They love doing that shit when you get on the air. Everybody,
yeah.
As soon as they see their master get on the microphone, they're like, "Oh, it's my time to shine."
Well, when he knew I was going out back, I mean, he doesn't even matter what I'm doing. It's like because I've been out here before with a computer, and he said, "Oh, he's going out there and sitting. That's an opportunity for me to, just go crazy." So
yeah, RJ, I don't agree with the downfall of the AEW. I think that's a little bit much. But yeah, why drag it if you're not going to swerve me? No pun intended. Then wrap this up, man. It would have been so cool if it was anybody. To me, going into this, it's like if it's Adam Cole, it's going to be a disappointment because people were tweeting all day. It's going to be a disappointment if it's not Adam Cole. And I'm like, no. If it's Adam Cole, and we called this. Everybody called this. Like months ago, then I'm going to be disappointed. I would have rather been his wife or his girlfriend, Britt Baker. I think I know who it should have been, and I stated this months ago. Soon as CM Punk showed up in WWE, it should have been Jungle Boy. because Jungle Boy needs to be earning that money back that he cost. He needs to be getting some of Tony Khan's money back that's walking around to the tune of Cult of Personality right now. And that would have been perfect if that would have been Jungle Boy. Or somebody, anybody but who it was. And like I said, nothing against Adam Cole, but Adam Cole was legit fucked up. His leg was all fucked up, unless they faked all that, or unless he's just better now. But and it's just, you know what? This might have been originally planned to end a lot sooner, but they couldn't do it because of Adam Cole's injury. So I don't know, man. But like I said, I'm like, are you serious? When the lights went out, I'm like, okay, be anybody but Adam Cole. Be anybody but Adam Cole. Lights came up, it's Adam fucking Cole. I'm like, come on, man. But I'm like, all right, fine. That's not, it's not the worst in the world. I just, like I said, when it comes to wrestling, I've been watching it so long, and the only enjoyment I get is when they swerve me, is when they do something. Like, I didn't think they were going to give Joe the belt tonight. I am cool with. Joe needed that. Joe deserves that title. He is a title. He can uphold the title, and he's perfect for. You can match Joe up against anybody. There's not one person in AEW where you can't say you put him up against Joe, and that's going to be a good feud. WWE completely wasted him after putting him in NXT. I'm like, why are you putting Samoa Joe in NXT? He don't need to learn shit. Get him on the air as soon as possible. And what do? They put him on there like a year later, and he gets in. Whenever you never want to waste time when wrestlers start getting into their late 30s and 40s, because you don't know how their body's going to recover. You don't put a 38-year-old Samoa Joe or whatever it is in NXT. You get his ass right. People know who Samoa Joe is. So they don't need to be done the WWE way. No, it's Samoa fucking Joe. Get him out there. Get him in that feud before all your guys start breaking down. And then when they did, like I said, they just wasted him. So I'm glad that, he comes in here. He looks great. He looked great in this match. MJF looked as good as he can, but now that I look at it, yeah, he's not just taped up for the storyline. He's been broken up. He went through the same thing Kenny Omega went. When Kenny Omega just wrestled all over the world until his body started falling off. So yeah, I don't know, man. But all right, let's say hi to. I'm going to do a quick hi to everybody, and then I'm turning the chat over. I don't think I misspelled Pink Floyd, but maybe I did. I don't know. Later on in the evening, or later on as we wrap up the show, we get to that last half hour if we have time. We should have time. I scheduled a light topic one today because we got a long show tomorrow. We literally have a fucking 12-hour show tomorrow. So,
and also, I mean, this home stretch of the year, it's like there's not as much in terms of like news. So.
Yeah. The whole thing. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
How you doing?
In fact, when you put Dark Side in the thumbnail, that made me wonder. It was that's was anything relating to that coming up, or was it just like as a lead into tomorrow?
It should lead into tomorrow. Just to let everybody know. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Open up your pocketbooks. We are going to be holding another event in regards to our fundraiser. Hopefully, by some miracle, we can get to 5,000. But we don't. It's not a loss if we don't. I just want to get as much as we can before we wrap up the new year. And Darkseid he's a character that I have not used in the thumbnail in quite some time. Not as a cinematic character. I've used him in as far as the character before.
Warner Bros. Hasn't used him as a cinematic character much either.
Yeah, well, there you go. Outside the Adam Cole and Christian Cage match, the pay-per-view was extremely underwhelming. Couple that with Jericho drama. Well, the Jericho drama was what it was. I didn't think that the Adam Copeland Christian Cage match was the best. It was violent, but it wasn't as skillful as they've been. I thought the match, for the most part, except for the 8-man tag, which was Jericho in, I wasn't big on that to begin with. I actually thought that the matches were solid. The matches were solid. Both women's matches were solid. The Kingston Moxley match was the best match of the night. And I thought that the Samoa Joe, I thought the matches were solid, but that AEW always gives you a solid in-ring performance. I can't recall when I've walked away from an AEW situation, and it is it's me letting me know that I'm on the air. Okay. I don't know what the hell's going on. But yeah, I thought it was a solid. Underwhelming for me was the lead-ins and some of the lead-ins and stuff like that. Other than that, it was I wasn't completely disappointed. This wasn't their best outing by any means, but that's a high bar. They've been put. If you look at the body of work AEW's put out in pay-per-view wise, they generally put out some of the best performances. I just didn't like the way this one was booked.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the but like I said, they swerved me at the end. I did not think Joe was getting the title. He got it. This allows MJF, according to Fightful, which I'm looking at right now, which is very credible. He's going to take some time off. He said he needs time off. I do believe he's already under contract, so I don't think you have to worry about him popping up anywhere else. But now what this allows him to do is to disappear, and it allows these whatever they're going to do with this faction to go do their own thing. And it allows Samoa Joe to progress with the title away from all this. So it actually splits up the story in different ways. I just wish it would have been someone, like I said, Jungle Boy owes Tony Khan some cash. Even Tony Khan's decision, but like I said, if I'm running AEW, I'm like I said, every time I hear Cult of Personality, I'm feeling a little bit lighter in the pocket. I think you need to put on a fucking devil mask. And I think you need to provide a surprise. And I think you need to come out and cut one of the best promos you ever cut, Jungle Boy, Jungle Jack, or whatever hell you are. I thought this would have been the perfect time. I mean, listen, make some money off it. If you blew it, you blew it with CM Punk. I think Tony Khan made a horrible decision. I thought he should have just sat Tony Khan or CM Punk at home and said, you know what, I will be damned if you're going to pop up. You don't want to be in the locker room. They don't want it. Fine. You are not popping up anywhere. And screw it. I'll continue to tease and say maybe a certain CM Punk is coming back, and I'll continue to sell that merchandise because he's still under my company. This is dumb. So, but like I said, since you gave away that money, dude, the heat would have been real. Do you realize how loud they would have booed Jack Perry if he came out? You would not have been. I would have had to adjust my volume, and the cuss words that would have been coming from that crowd, they would have been bleep 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 bleep, and it would have that's sellable heat, man. But but like I said, underwhelming. They really haven't. I guess it depends on what your standard is. When you saw that Adam Cole's a devil boring. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There was swerve me.
Yeah. And going off of that, you mentioned earlier, where it's like,
yeah, I'm like, what the hell? My Lakers got ripped off today. Listen, when it comes to instant replay, I don't care what the sport is. I understand if you blow a call on the field or on the floor or on the ice and it's a bang bang play and you can't, but if you got TV, you got replay and you can slow the shit down. There's been two things. My Lakers got screwed today because LeBron clearly hit the three that should have tied the game, changed the game. They slow it down, and the dude size 13s has got you can see it, and they're standing there forever looking. They're not just bang bang. There's no chair shot with the ref and somebody comes in and makes a pin. No, it's on a screen, and you're all standing there looking at it, and they still fucked it up. And my Kings playing the Golden Knights had a goal disallowed that should have tied the game at 3, and they called goalie interference. You have the announcer saying, I don't think that's goalie interference because it was a laser shot and it didn't interfere, and goalie was coming out of the crease. They looked at it for like forever, then they fucked it up. So here's my new rule. If you fuck up an instant replay and I can see it on the screen that you fucked up, I can literally make it my screensaver that you fucked up, you get suspended without pay. If it's the ref that messes it up on the floor field, that's 1 game suspension without pay. If it's a jackass that's sitting out there in Toronto or New York with 5,000 screens to look at it 5 different angles and you fuck it up, guess what? Hot dog on a stick. That's your next job because you don't even get the benefit of the doubt of screwing it up because you're literally watching the same TV as I am. So you need to be, and I need to get that as one of my gifts or my little things where it shows like the girl on the hot dog on a stick and churning the thing with her colorful hat on. If you can't do your job, maybe we just make it easier. Making lemonade is easy. But yeah, So yeah, Lakers got screwed, and my Kings are tied with the Edmonton Oilers, who just the name Edmonton Oilers just makes me want to throw up on air right now. So yeah, it's been a crazy sports day, but my fantasy league is I think I'm going to win the Super Bowl there.
And
So,
actually, Aaron kind of has one related to that. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Zach Knight wrestling for AEW?
Don't have any yet. Don't have any yet. That's one of those ones that's at the I'm gonna have to get back to you on, because like I said, I went barreling into this pay-per-view with only a couple things on my mind, and I pretty much muted out everything else. Sorry, Aaron. I mean, hell, the Von Erichs are there, which I didn't even know they were still around wrestling. All right, let's see. William and Downfall. Oh, Anthony Manzano. Here we go. Okay, guys, stop it with the drama. Downfall of AEW. Okay, all right. I'm gonna have to put an end to this from all my fellow wrestling brethren. I love you all, but come on now, William. This is a downfall of AEW, and I have a feeling it's gonna be like WCW in 2000 all over again. I need a teleportation device to teleport you guys here, so I can just okay. No, you will never see a WCW 2000 again, because you will never have, as bad as you think Warner Brothers was warning out at the time. AOL Time Warner was a shit stain across the fabric of wrestling. They had no business owning a wrestling company. They really had no business owning Warner Brothers. That merger was a disaster, and that disaster was part of it. You're never going to, Tony Khan is never going to ever be in a situation that WCW was, because the network is never going to own 100%. The most the network owns with AEW is part of their stake is like maybe 20 to 30. That can be bought out. He can buy that out. He's got $8 billion. He doesn't, and AEW is profitable. So those are right there. Everything I just pointed out, that was not the case in WCW. Was not the case with WCW. WCW was being poorly managed at the ground level, poorly supervised by AOL Time Warner, and just completely disorganized and stupid. And then you had idiots like Jamie Kellner, who had no use for wrestling, making side deals and canceling the TV. You will never stop comparing AEW to WCW in 2000. It is a laughable comparison. Stop. Not just you, Anthony. Anybody who puts those AEW and WCW and the numbers 2000 in the same sentence, stop yourself. You remember that meme where they're putting on the nose and the hair? Stop. That's what you're going through. Because I lived that. I was watching that shit. I was watching it, and I was listening to Bob Ryder, WC. I knew a lot of people that worked within the company at the time, because they all were. The internet was a lot newer than it was now, and they would all be talking to people. So no, under no circumstances whatsoever, none is WG's. Like I said, I sat through that bullshit. Not only did I sit through that, I sat through the aftermath of it, because that allowed WWF to become pure shit. After there was no other major wrestling company out there, WWF, whatever the hell they were at the time, could treat people like pure trash, and you had nowhere to go if you wanted to stay on TV. And the product just got bad, because who were you going to compare them to? And then since nobody had anything to compare it to, another generation of wrestling fans came in thinking that the trash that they were putting on was great. So they're like, okay, cool. We went from 6 to 8 million people on a Monday night watching two different wrestling companies to like 3 million people is something to throw a parade over. That's how bad things got. So no, stop making the comparison. It is not valid. Sorry. All right. Feels like the company's been in a downward spiral creatively since Brawl out. And well, they were in a creative funk before that. But they just had a big name to ride. But like I said, I mean, in comparison to the wrestling products that are out there right now, why would I watch anything to do with Roman Reigns right now? I know he's not losing shit till April. So, and it's that way with the product now. It can get worse. Trust me. There is an actually worse product out there. It's just the product that everybody knows and is falling in love with. But like I said, WWE has been a pretty much underwhelming story-wise for quite a while now. For quite a while. They are great at controlling the perception of their company, but the storylines have been garbage. You know, and they've been letdowns. And they've lasted literally, if you had a kid start high school when this bloodline shit started, you are literally that kid is going to be a senior. That kid is graduating now. You've literally had a storyline when the bloodline, thank you. That is literally a presidential mission. Look who's here.
Hi, I'm the coffee girl.
Yeah. Flew her all the way from San Fran just to bring me Starbucks.
How's it going, Rhea?
That's what kind of sway.
I'm putting my stuff down.
Brad almost messed up and came on air with his face.
Oh, come on.
I held up because I'm like, you know.
As I mentioned, I'm trying to do that by the time we do the Rebel Moon 2 stream in April. Because I always make multiple New Year's resolutions, and that's one of them. But everybody also Rhea, right there. She is also partly, in fact, probably not mostly. She's responsible for my much improved audio ever since she sent me the headset that I've been using. So we have her to thank for that, and of course my dog. So much so that you can hear my dog going nuts in the background.
Hi, Lynn. Be careful in that studio. So this guy. And he's probably going to smoke enough weed to bleed through my ceiling tiles, which is always great. Love my neighbors.
What did I miss?
No, we're talking about wrestling. You need me to move that?
Here. Oh, yeah. Yes, I can sit over the camera.
Don't mind the stuff that's fallen because the table was too heavy for her to.
Sorry, I'm late.
That's all right. Brought coffee.
Yay.
Okay. Just slide that stuff out of your way.
Oh, this stuff?
Just kick it to the corner.
Okay.
Or anything.
Okay. Cool. Oh.
There's a trash can there. All right. So yeah, Dark Side of the Moon. It's a good album. It's a great album, but I still think The Wall for me is blame Brad, killer of streams.
Of course.
Is it on there? Okay, cool. Oh, let me. You can see the here. Let me turn.
Everybody say hi to Rhea tonight.
Hi, Rhea.
Hi, y'all.
Instead of the sleeve stack, you get something to actually look at. All right. So Joe worked with Cole and his henchmen to get the AEW Championship, and all Cole and those guys got with the world. The ROH tag team titles. What's a weird deal? Okay, that I did agree with, because those tag team titles needed to get on the waist of somebody associated with them and Ring of Honor. I thought that move on it, that was okay. And I really want him to break up, to have Ring of Honor be broken away and him not book it. I know why he's doing it, because they didn't get a TV deal worked out. But Ring of Honor, the Ring of Honor titles have been defended more on AEW TV than they have been on Ring of Honor, and I think that's a problem. So the Kingdom, who are heavily associated with Ring of Honor, winning, I have no problem with that. I just have a problem with Adam Cole being the guy when we knew he was the guy. I'm like, I don't, whatever. All right.
Yeah, so I got William a cold brew. I wasn't sure if he was going to be a fan or not, but I like it, so it's sugar-free. So yeah, hopefully it works.
I'm a frap guy, but when somebody walks through the door with coffee, I'm whatever walks through the door guy. So
I'm the same.
How you doing, Droga? Happy Halloween, okay. You know what?
No, he's got a few troll comments in there if you want to. Some of them are related to band topics.
How you doing? How you doing, Fourth? Yeah, well, dude, it just broke today. And I don't know if there's enough information out there, to be honest with you, to really act within a few hours. Now, if it turns out, like I said, we've had these things break before, and then we've all looked dumb when it turns out that it's bullshit. So give him his due process and let him work through the information. And if it's real, then yeah, he needs to disappear. But right now, I mean, with the time of day it broke, I don't know if there was enough time to really not make a bad decision. So that one's a tough one. I don't know how. I mean, you could have taken him out. That match was meaningless. That match could have been off the pay-per-view, to be honest with you. Pay-per-view was too long. That's another thing. I need him to stop with these fucking 5-hour pay-per-views, man. I got shit to do. And, you know, I mean, I got a lot of shit to do on a Saturday night. I like having them on Saturday nights, but I don't need a 5-hour pay-per-view, especially when 2 of those matches, I can guarantee you, if 2 of those matches were not on, I could have done. That match was on. I was an 8-man tag that I could have done without. You could have canceled that match and you know, and just said it was injury. The Keith Lee Swerve match. I know that they didn't want to take Swerve off a pay-per-view because they're pushing him, and they rightfully so. But you know, it doesn't make as much sense with, I guess, with the injury. He broke his arm, I guess so, but that was so long ago. So yeah, the Chris Jericho thing, depending on if it's true or not, we've had these things come up before, and they end up not being bullshit. So you got to be careful how you act, because you're, on the one hand, you want to tackle it quickly, but on the other hand, if it turns out to be bullshit, now you've besmirched one of your top, you know, a top name, and you know, people are not going to look at that.
I have a quick question. Well, I'm a total noob. So like everyone's like so like juiced about CM Punk. Like who is this guy, and like why is he important? I'm sorry.
CM Punk is been wrestling, like, you know, Phil Brooks is his name. He's a polarizing, controversial figure who has no filter when
yeah, to put it delicately.
So he's caused problems in a lot of different places, and he was under contract with AEW. He was their top merch seller. He was their top a lot of things, one of their top draws, if not their top draw. He had some incidents with people who called themselves executive VPs. He didn't like executive VPs, who I respect the hell out of for their talent, but they handled the situation poorly. It escalated. He ends up getting into an altercation and getting fired with cause, and ends up walking into WWE a few months later, which, like I said, that's on Tony Khan.
Well,
if you think you need to sit him at home, that's fine, but you also needed to deal with the Elite and Kenny Omega. If you're not going to act like EVPs, then you're just regular wrestlers. You're just employees. You're not part of the decision-making process.
Well, and I remember, like, when that happened, also, we were like speculating on there, saying, okay, if this isn't, you know, you thought it was a work, and you thought, but it thought, like, if it's not, if it isn't revealed to be a work within, like, what was it, like 24 to 72 hours, then it's like, then you can write off it being a work, and it wasn't revealed that way, so it was legit.
It was too stupid to be real. It should have been a work. Tony Khan should have made it a work. So yeah.
Well, and you, if you want to see a dude get booed in front of an audience, I mean, just Google that.
Can I ask another dumb question?
Oh, feel free.
Look at our chat. No, I'm just kidding.
Awesome. Okay, so what do we think about
just kidding, chat.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson running for president in 2028?
No.
I'm a hard yes on that.
I'm a hard no. Listen, I don't want the guy who made this coffee performing brain surgery on me if I need it. I don't want the guy who's making churros on the corner to fix my plumbing if I need it. I want people that are qualified for the job. I don't care what party you are. First qualification is that you know what the fuck you're doing. I don't need you ad-libbing shit. I love The Rock for what he is, but I'm talking about the running of the country. This isn't easy. I don't want no more celebrities as presidents, in especially in the modern era, where the type of celebrities that we have, it ain't like when Ronald Reagan was we took the Gipper from the movie.
Ronald Reagan, the actor,
had a military career. I mean, things like that, and was a governor, was an executive of state, things like that. I'm sorry if people don't like government, that's fine. But like I said, do you when you get on a plane, do you want the most popular guy on the plane flying it, or you want the fucking pilot to fly the plane? I'm gonna go with the pilot who knows how to fly and take off and land the plane.
He's like, I played a pilot in a movie once.
Yeah, I don't need Leslie Nielsen on airplane. I need you to be qualified, because when I'm done voting for you and you become the boring old guy and fade into the background, I need to know that you're worrying about shit that I don't have to. I don't need to know that you don't even know where certain states on the map are at. I don't need to know. I mean, your charisma, The Rock has great charisma. Don't give me. I love The Rock for what The Rock is. But The Rock has never ran a state, never ran in a government agency, never did. I'm sorry. I mean, I need qualified people I want everybody currently doing their job, including the hot dog on a stick girl or guy. That's your job. If you're good at it, you continue to do that. I don't want you getting off of that little pump thing and going and trying to run for mayor if you don't know how to run civic duties.
Okay, but my thing is that.
Well, here we got the best endorsement for that right down here from Daniel Martin.
I mean, for me, I think that like a lot of times, like the president is like a mouthpiece for like his team behind him, if not like, Senate or, the House. So that said, I do think that Dwayne Johnson does have the ability to, unite the masses. Like he's a working class,
I can't make her disappear because she's right here.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not like, like a political science expert, like at all. But I just think that like someone who like can kind of like bridge the, the generational and cultural gap that's kind of like currently sort of like tearing us asunder.
See, I'm the opposite. If you're the president of the United States, I want you nowhere near me as far as intellect and ability and relatability be, because I'm not you. I'm not going to do your job. See, I hear people, not hear you, but I hear people like, I like that guy because he reminds me of me. He's like, listen, that's a death knell. I want you guys to hear this straight. If your qualification for somebody running really important shit is that they're like you and you're not running important shit, that's scary.
Okay, but I have one good example. So, like, I'm a big Jimmy Carter fan, even though he didn't get to office running. And, like, obviously I wasn't born yet. And I know you were, like, very young during that time.
Oh, wow. That's an old joke. That was, wow. let me backhand myself.
But, like, I know a little bit about, like, how, like, he was, like, a progressive working class, hero up until, even present day, like, his legacy is being for the people in the grassroots sort of like.
That's different though. That's just
no.
Jimmy,
right when I'm making a point, you're like, oh no.
Okay, you're talking about somebody who's ran for Congress, won a seat in Congress, was in the military, knows military organizational structure, ran for Senate, ran for local office in his peanut farm. He was a peanut farmer. He had yes, he could relate to the working man. But what I'm saying is, the people who look at unqualified people and say he's like me. Well, yeah, he is like you. You're unqualified to run for president, and so is that person. Jimmy Carter, yeah, he was, he is. I'm thought, I need to stop saying was. Let me knock on wood, because if he dies, it's gonna be my fault.
Yeah, it's gonna be heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's gonna be my fault.
Yes,
but
William.
He's qualified though. Shut up, man. If you look at his resume, he escalated up from through government. So he understood government. And even if you surround these people with the best people in the world, if they don't have the discipline and the understanding to understand who they should be listening to, you could have the best people around you. You still have the power to tell them no. So
to kind of throw my 2 cents in on it, without giving like any particular, and I actually do have a BA in poli-sci, full disclosure, and that was my major in college. I've actually talked a little bit before about that, where it's like my trajectory was probably taking me in that direction at one point, and I decided
another Brad badge, but okay.
But you mentioned that. You mentioned I'm kind of curious when you brought up The Rock potentially running into that, because there's been chatter about that for a while now. Did that come up? Like, was it like a recent interview or soundbite he gave, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm strongly considering doing that, because he's done that a couple times before, and to be perfectly honest, he's always jumped into. He did the video supporting Biden and Harris last time, and he's done this and that as within each election cycle. But I know I don't know what incentive, if I'm The Rock, like really what what do I get for being president? Because you think about The Rock as like you talk about like a public figure who's about as beloved as most get. You're both involved in pro wrestling and in the film industry, and you just sleep on a pile of money every night, and you want to trade that for being you become president. Yeah, you're the most powerful person in the world, but also the drawbacks are it's like the moment you become president, you've got people trying to organize assassination attempts on you. No matter what you do, half the country is going to hate your guts. So, exactly. So it's like, I think, and this is, I'm not trying to read his mind or anything, but I think he's just having a lot of fun, just kind of poking or just kind of pushing buttons in the media when people, when he gets interviewed and asked, would you consider running? He says, "Oh, I don't know, maybe I'll give a shot." So
Yeah,
that's just my conspiratorial 2 cents, but was there like a recent interview or soundbite he gave where he was talking about potentially doing that you're referring to?
No, I actually wasn't aware that he made those sound bites, and I made this question as wrestling adjacent, and it seems like everyone in the chat is like relatively a Rock fan, if not adjacent, maybe liked a few of his things. And for me, I just feel like he's a good orator. He knows how to captivate an audience. He knows how to unite people, and part of me feels that with the right counsel behind him, I think it could work potentially. And I do think he's a great businessman, and I do think that he notices
definitely.
that his film career, or like his entertainment career, I should say, it's kind of plateauing. Like, I know he has the live action Moana movie, and then that 24 movie, but that's I think we kind of seen his star rise as much as we can expect. In my opinion. So that's
then it's time to go up into the sunset, man. You don't want to have a coronary.
I mean, I would say that it would be helpful if he used his platform for other creatives, which or other personalities. That would be awesome. But I think because he has such a huge brand that he wants to sustain, that would be the next sort of career move, And I don't want to say that being a president is a career move, but I think he would probably see it that way.
Yeah, well, I could see the only way I personally could envision, excuse me, the only way I could personally envision him wanting to jump, it would be a similar thing to Ronald Reagan or Arnold Schwarzenegger, where when he decides, okay, if he were to decide, okay, like what you're saying, it's like I have kind of hit the peak of where I've gone in my career in movies and pro wrestling and this and that. So that the next thing I want to do is politics. Those guys were both, I mean, Arnold and Reagan, they were both, how old were they when they both entered office? I need to look that up.
Reagan was 60. Well, Reagan was a governor. And
so they were both north of 60 when they did that.
Reagan was 69 when he actually took office.
Arnold was 57, something like that. But anyway, so that'd be the only thing I could think of offhand. Hey,
take over for me real quick.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Part of it's also, it's like again what Daniel says here. If The Rock can bring Cavill back as Superman, then that's part of the reason why I'm like, I still want to see that Black Adam Superman fight. So it's like, yeah, I'd rather let's enveloping that within all the other DC stuff fans continue to make calls for. That's where I'm like, I kind of want to see that to capstone your entertainment career with that, and then if you want to go run for office, maybe. And that's without me getting too deep as far as my stances on anything, which I kind of prefer not to do on the show here, because obviously that's going to turn everything into a total shit show if you get too much. I mean, but that is what that is. But that's kind of where I stand on it. And Anthony, actually, you wanted me to highlight a comment you had about it. Let me see. I don't think The Rock really wants to run for president. He's just saying that because that would tear into his personal life. He doesn't want his daughter. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at earlier. Where it's like once you enter politics, and especially once you enter the presidency, it's like you're getting.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I was on it switched over to the Cox. Lousy internet,
okay.
And so I don't want to be on that.
Okay.
I just want
there's
sleep with the boring old man.
But again, there's also so much that you sacrifice and you lose in gaining the power of the presidency. Where I look at that calculus is if I am The Rock, or if I am a celebrity or an A-lister at his level, it's okay. What really is motivating me to make that trade off? Where it's I would rather let's put it this way. I would rather live the life of The Rock than the president of the United States is the way to put it. But that's just kind of my analysis of it. But while you guys were off the air, I also made the comment of, I still want to see the Black Adam and Superman fight. So it's like I kind of like, The Rock enveloping that and all the other DC stuff that fans continue to have to call for.
I don't think he needs to be the president to do that.
Yeah. But no, what I'm saying is like if we can make that happen, and then you can be president.
You got my vote. There you go. You got my vote.
Yeah.
That's all it's to take. Oh wow.
Okay, so follow-up question. Like, what wrestlers would you like to see transcend into Marvel and or DC? Like, and what characters would you want them to be?
I want Batista.
Wrestling adjacent.
I want Batista to play Ra's al Ghul.
I could see him as well.
I don't want to ever see him as Bane. I think
because I remember when the talk was about like when the people started fan casting like who would he be in DC, and everybody the logic, the one everybody jumped to because of his build and everything was Bane. And I remember a lot of people saying, "Oh, that's too obvious." And then he was asked about it. He said, "No, actually, I do want to be Bane."
And I'm like, you know what? That's when the producer and the director are like, "Now we're going to fit you something. We're going to give you a worthwhile character, first of all, not waste you."
I'm trying to think like wrestlers I'd want to see. Who would I want to see? And William is definitely because I watched plenty of wrestling in my time, but William is definitely much more the expert on that than I am.
I like The Rock. I'm not voting for him. He's not qualified to run the country. Sorry, and I've already been there and done.
Well, again, it's like I don't necessarily think he's even at this point in time. Anyway, he's not. You get the question, and you're in his position. How are you going to answer that? Are you going to say it's like, well, I'm going to just shut that door forever? It's like, well, no. I mean, it's like I said, the example comparing him to Reagan or Schwarzenegger. It's like, I mean. That's a potentially like a transition from one career to another that you might consider, and as you enter your advanced years, but you're not really there yet. So it's a kind of down the road thing if he's seriously considering it all. I would imagine.
I don't even know what that is for. But yeah, no celebrities as presidents unless they've had prior political experience. I do not want to hand the reins and the steering wheel over. Like I said, would you let your Pomeranian chauffeur for you? No.
I would.
You got it.
Equivalence.
No,
I can't use big words on camera.
You're not qualified. You're not qualified. There's no such thing as like being half qualified. No, you got to be qualified to run this thing, to be able to negotiate with Congress and the Senate, and understand the way that body of government works, the way the three levers of power work, all that stuff. Make a budget. Talking to world leaders, temperament, know who to listen to, who to replace. There's so much stuff that goes into that if you're not qualified on MIDI levels, I don't want you there. And like I said, that's not just that's not a Republican or Democrat. There's plenty. I don't care. I don't care what party you are in. If you're not qualified to do a job, then I don't want you in that job. Every walk of life. Do you want name something you want to rely on? And you want it to be there. You want your mechanic to be a mechanic. Like I said, you want your plumber to actually know how to be a plumber. You want your doctor, your healthcare provider to maybe know something about the body or medicine before he goes cutting you open or giving you pills. You want the bum on the corner. Hey, what should I take? Can you give me no? The people who are doing important jobs need to be qualified to do those jobs. I don't care what the jobs are, because it's a disaster. The coolest guy, the most popular guy is not always the right person for the job. And I think the duty, no matter what party you vote for, the duty of the citizen is to recognize that. Put yourself in that plane and take it seriously when you understand who that pilot is. And if you look in the cockpit and it's a fucking chimpanzee, get off the plane. That simple. Qualification, job, they go together. There are jobs that you don't need to be that qualified for. You can just walk in and be like, hey, okay, I got 2 arms, 2 legs, I got some fingers, I can do this.
Well, William, now I do. I think we should have one more opinion on this matter, and of course comes from none other than Doc Brown.
Oh, jeez. Well, I'm glad it's muted because you're probably going to get us kicked off of YouTube. You're determined to get us thrown off, aren't you? You're just like, I'm on a mission.
But yeah, like I think I still kind of stand on, my sentiment about, uniting the people of like the immediate, folks who voted you in.
He can be my press secretary.
And like I personally, like, I get the importance of, international diplomacy and things like that. I'm not saying he's not capable of that. Like you are, you're but yeah, like as far as like, uplifting the spirits and, like actual like sort of like being proud of, where you come from. There's a lot of like discontent with, just like living here and like the quality of life across the country. So I think there could be some sort of like, maybe like prioritization of that. And, going forward, getting more involved in international matters. Because in my opinion, that's like, something that I'm kind of critical of. Like, we're too involved in that stuff. Sorry to get
no. Well, you just made it into you just made the whole thing.
Yeah, like that's kind of like why I feel like Rock did.
Well, Ray, I think made it into like this into
I know,
an impromptu topic tonight is whether The Rock should be president or not.
I should have put that on the thumbnail. Hank Deasy Razal should be played by an Arabic guy. Are you serious, man? Listen, how many times I have to go through this? It's not real. It's make believe. Because James Caan played a Sicilian and he's not Italian.
He's Jewish, yeah.
He's Jewish.
Okay, no, but that's not fair. We're making too many, like again, false equivalencies. Like you wouldn't have like, a non-black person play Black Panther, right? Like because it's so ingrained in who that character is.
But I don't have to have a guy from Africa play him. Now, if you didn't know that Dave Bautista was Filipino. A lot of people don't know that.
Well, he's Greek and Filipino. That's his.
Exactly.
I think.
I mean, and Ra's al Ghul is not just. Look at his history. He's got a little bit of everything there, but primarily Arabic. But it's the whole job is to act like something that you are not. He could pass for Arabic. He does not have to be truly. He's not. It's not real, guys. Listen. Newsflash. Spoiler. Hold on. Wait. There we go. None of this is real.
No. Okay, if I was same logic, then yeah, like brown face and black face is okay. Because it's.
No,
that's horrible.
Said,
that is horrible.
You have got to come on more often, Rhea, because this is so.
This is
awesome.
this is not an Al Jolson moment. No.
Okay, yeah, no, that was like I don't think that's okay. I'm just like making fun of like William right now, but no, that's
but just without any makeup though. Most people, I mean, if he could carry on the role internally as an actor in Arabic, he's passable for a lot of different. I wouldn't have him playing a white historical figure or somebody. Yeah, but I think as he is and with his acting ability, I think he could.
Okay, but actually on that exact topic, I mean, because we have had a couple of in the last 20 years or so, or Ra's al Ghul, we had the guy on Arrow. His name escapes me, but who was on Arrow is Ra's.
All the Arrowverse should escape me.
but he was he looked closer to Ra's in terms of like Middle Eastern heritage, but I believe he's New Zealander, so he's got kind of a Maori background. But then of course the big one everybody immediately is Liam Neeson as Ra's in the Dark Knight trilogy, which that's a whole other question. It's like, do you think that would fly today? Because I mean, that's a white dude playing Ra's al Ghul. Would that fly today?
Oh yeah, and then gosh, who was the actor who played Mandarin in Iron Man 3?
Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, that's like modern there. Even though he's like a relatively tan individual, like he was playing someone of Eastern Asian descent, right?
Well, he's Indian, Ben Kingsley, but he tends to like he almost tends to get, if it's like not white character, he tends to get cast in that, no matter what it is.
Got it. My apologies, I didn't realize that.
Well, but it's easy to overlook because, all right. So let's see, because he was. I mean, they turned the Mandarin into a big joke anyway in Iron Man 3. That was such
Iron Man 3 was not great.
All right, Ra's al Ghul. So he's been around forever. He's got Asian in him. He's got a lot in him. I could see Dave Bautista. I don't know whether Caden was like just messing with me, but I've heard, and I heard, like I said, and some RJ said a couple months back that Bryn Grimm should be, because Bryn Grimm is Jewish in the comic books. I'm like, okay, his character can be Jewish, but does he need to be played? It's acting. You're literally becoming something that you are not. So
I've actually, like, one guy I fan cast for Roz for a while is Oded Fair. Because I think he's I think he's voiced Roz a couple times, some of the animated stuff, but he's he's Israeli, so and he's charismatic. Even remember him like the Mummy and Resident Evil. He's like he's definitely got a screen presence to him, so it's like he's somebody I've been kind of fan casting for a while. So yeah, he could make a pretty legit Ra's al Ghul, I think.
I mean, I would love personally, and I know I'm not the biggest fan caster in the world, but I think I just don't want to see him play Bane. Please don't listen. Dave put the work in to become a better actor with each role that he's in. Why play a really shitty villain even on comic books? Bane was just one of the
it should also, I mean, like William, like his William. If it's not clear, part of why William's not down with the Batista as Bane, or it's partly because he's not a fan of Bane in the abstract.
The character was just like, oh, let's I need something for Batman to overcome. Well, let's create a muscle bound dude. I mean, it's just fucking dumb. And then
but he's got a brain like Batman's.
Right,
don't mix them up with Batman and Robin Bane, okay?
And the problem with that is, like I said, then you have a much more credible villain in Ra's al Ghul, who I think would challenge him a lot more. And I think it's just a stereotypical thing to be like, oh, I've got a lot of muscles and he's 6'4" and he's big. Let's make him Bane. Oh, let's forget about the guy. Like I said, every time he takes the script, takes a role, he improves each time. So I think he should play Ra's al. As long as he doesn't play Bane, thumbs up.
I have seen, I mean, this is going to happen now as far as Superman Legacy goes, but I did see people, a fair amount of people fan casting him for Lex Luthor. And it's like, that could have been actually a really different take on Lex Luthor. Having this big buff dude, but he's also obviously he's got the brains of Lex Luthor, but but it could have been like a really, I mean, they on Superman and Lois, you got a more kind of gruff take on Lex with Michael Cudlett's portrayal. So that I could have been down with that.
Listen here, as a person of color, I've been a person of color for all my life.
Me too.
Oh, Ray too.
Did Cowboy Bob, did Morpheus playing Lawrence Fishburne playing Perry White hurt Man of Steel?
Yeah, I love it. I love his Perry White.
No, now, when it's black and white, it's a lot different. But if the ethnicity of the character isn't the driving force of the character, then choose the best actor. They chose the best actor available. Perry White has been historically a white guy. His race had no relevancy to the story that Zack Snyder was telling. So he chose the best actor that was available to him at that time.
Okay, but here's my thing, and I totally agree with giving opportunities to folks who have the aptitude to fulfill the job. Okay, that's I agree with you there. But I think for me, I do believe that you have to go out of your way to give opportunities to folks who would otherwise not receive them. So you kind of have to create these create these opportunities where they wouldn't already exist.
In a situation, most situations, but in a situation with Lawrence Fishburne, probably ended up being the best one that he had available.
Right. I don't think that's one of those situations.
No, but there are situations where you absolutely cannot do it. Obviously, Black Panther, you cannot have a guy that's obviously right there. But because his ethnicity literally drives his character in his country and the country he represents. So you have to take it on a case-by-case basis. I wouldn't just say no race swapping completely. I would not change the nature of the character. And if that is tied to their ethnic group, then you don't. But like I said, Perry White, Nick Fury for 50 years was a white guy with a patch. Now he's a black guy with a patch. No problem.
Well, and actually to go off of that,
change the character.
Because I yeah, I agree with everything you're saying there, Rhea. But there is also kind of a flip side to it, as far as whether or not to maintain like the race of the character or not in any adaptation. Like the shorthand I use for it is like if what you do is if you make Peter Parker black, do we ever get Miles Morales? Or if you make Hal Jordan black, do we ever get John Stewart? And so what I mean by that is that you've had, there's what.
But that's the nature of the character.
If you, yeah, exactly. It's like if you
one black Green Lantern, there can only be one black version of Spider-Man. Like
I'm not saying like make only one. I'm just saying it's like, those are great characters themselves. So it's like if all you had done was just make Peter Parker or Hal Jordan black, that's kind of also depriving us of these other like really strong characters too. So
not really, because they can both exist and they can both be black. So I apologize if I'm not understanding your point.
Well, he's saying that there's a different story. In my opinion, tell me if I'm not interpreting right. There's a different story to be told. Same way, I use Superman as I never want to see Clark Kent as a white guy, but I would not mind seeing.
You mean as a black guy?
Or yeah, because you know what I mean. But because there's a different story to be taken seriously with our history with the country coming from and how we will be looked upon versus that. And I think that story would need to be told. So I don't need to change Clark Kent. And I know there was a story being tossed around, but that would be an insult to me. Whereas Spider-Man, to me, it's a difference of character because once again, if you're black and you're reading these comics, the one thing that Stan Lee, that's why he covered Spider-Man from head to toe for the most part, because when he's in that costume, he can be any one of us.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a lot easier to do a Miles Morales, but you don't have to change Peter Parker's story for that. I have a black Puerto Rican Spider-Man without ever having to change Spider-Man's character.
Yeah. That's basically what I'm getting at. Yeah. When I kind of use that example.
I hope, am I interpreting that right?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm getting at. Yeah.
I get what she's saying too.
Yeah.
But
there are also like instances where like I think it was very much like with Jason Momoa's Aquaman, making him making Aquaman a Hawaiian, Polynesian, making that his cultural background. I mean, it's like I think that was perfect for the character because it's like what character in DC or Marvel does that fit most perfectly other than Aquaman?
Well, you have Samaritan. Here's the thing.
Exactly.
You have to understand the history of the characters, though, and where comic books were and where we were as a country, race relation wise. Only reason why some of these characters, Stan Lee had envisioned a lot more ethnicity and color. He couldn't get it past the censor, couldn't get it past the editors because where we were at as a country. Same thing in the 40s. It was even worse. Why are all your superheroes basically white Anglos? I mean, for the most part, the generic white guy.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because that's all they could get through. So you could make the argument that Aquaman's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy because that's what was acceptable in that time and that era. But if the logic of the character, remember what I said about it, does it alter the nature of the character if you change it? And with Aquaman, it actually goes in the other direction and makes him a lot more accurate. If you want to, it makes him a lot more versatile because his origins were created because how many of us were gracing the covers of in the 40s? None, zero. I can count for you right now. So you have to understand that the society that was created in versus the representation that makes sense now. If it would have been up to to Stan Lee and the entirety of Jewish writers that were creating these comics, Schuster, Siegel, all these guys, Bob Kane, Jack Kirby, all these guys, if they were allowed to push forth the representation that they felt part of, you would have a totally different society. But you had editors, you had publishers that were saying, no, we ain't there yet, we ain't doing it. And as the civil rights era unfolded, look, as soon as Stan Lee could, he got one in. He beat Black Panthers to the Black Panthers.
Which I love that actually. There's because that is actually there is the misconception that he was he was named after the Black Panther Party, and it's that had I've had to tell when I remember the movie was coming out, I was telling people who were kind of newcomers to it, it's he actually came first. In fact, for a little while they actually had to read. I'm sure I bet you've actually told the story to people in the store, William. For a little while, they actually had to rename him like Black Leopard, I think it was.
Something stupid, and his costume changed. It lasted for like a blink of an eye. And like I said, but you weren't the same people, the same likenesses that Stan Lee could not get forth and even in the 40s when he was working on stuff with Timely, or stuff that was going on in Timely, and even in the early 60s. Every one of those major characters, there's not one non-white character in any of that unless they're a complete alien or a complete, radioactively. That's not what he wanted, but that's what he could get through. So when you take a character like Aquaman, it's probably the same thing. If you look at it, he's a product of that environment. Now, could you still do a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aquaman? Of course you could. But in my opinion, the reason why you had that was not a reason that was necessarily to do with the story. So since it's not part of that character's inherent, life, then you could do a Islander. You could easily do an Islander, and it wouldn't hurt the story.
I have like two sort of points I want to make. So again, creating opportunities. I want to circle back to that where they otherwise wouldn't be.
I'll be right back, guys.
Folks of color. And the second part is, what was it? I'm losing my train of thought. So there are,
Actually, I'm gonna stick. I want to be rude and step out during Rhea's points. I'm just because I was going to go to the bathroom. It's like no.
I lost my train of thought. God, sorry.
Wow, what happened here?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, there's something Ray also that you started earlier that is now caught on.
Hey, you yeah, okay.
I can't tell if you're trolling or not, Aaron.
I am the Joga doing his thing. Creating racial variants. Wow, this blew up. Creating racial variants to characters is a disservice to the character, as if black people don't think it counts. No, I 100% disagree with you here because, to be honest with you, at this point, to put a mantle like Spider-Man, that means everything to Marvel, and connect that to a person of color. I have no problem with that.
I think he just jogged Rhea's memory there. So
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So again, just to restate, create opportunities for actors who wouldn't otherwise get an opportunity, of marginalized represented groups. Also, to Forth's point about making the identity of a character just for the sake of
there is no way Forth is serious here.
Yeah,
he may be
basically give representation to an existing character because it's not creating an opportunity. So in my my mindset that I have is creating an opportunity. The other one is actually no, it's piggybacking off the opportunity of another character who's already worldwide known to appear this one way. But what I will say is in order to get to a point where we can have original characters of various ethnicities, races, backgrounds, things like that, we kind of have to make these steps to introduce more on-screen diversity in prominent roles with existing characters who have that leverage and that brand identity. So
that's what I was about to say. I'm glad you said that.
So Professor Xavier, there was a fan casting for what is his name?
Giancarlo. No, that was from Magneto.
Giancarlo. Yeah. I think I've seen. Yeah, he fan caster. He thinks.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I know a lot of people disagree with this sentiment, but I'm saying we kind of have to make these concessions and accept these occurrences in order to get to the ultimate goal of the original characters being represented as they are in the source material, Miss Marvel, for example, being of Pakistani descent, that's crucial to her identity in the source material and in the show. So we had to kind of have more opportunities for those in canon characters to be represented as their identities are in the source material. And then there's also these concessions we have to make where we kind of have to like pivot to a direction of a different interpretation of this character in order to get, you know, to the point where we can, you know, more like, I guess, like not feel that this that this person is, you know, just there just for the sake of being there.
I'm gonna give it another caveat. Time. And I can cut partially what she said is you don't have, like, you could create a character today and create a black character today just out of nowhere, and yeah, maybe it'll take off, but to me, you've lost out on a lot of time because of the way things were, especially for the first 30 years of all this genre. When you are Captain America isn't a white guy. It is a title. It's 6 other people have held the title of Captain America. Spider-Man, and this is the way Stan Lee envisioned it, which is ironic, is that Spider-Man has become a title now. It is a title that can elevate anyone, not just Peter Parker, especially if the story dictates that it does. So I am all for, because you're putting this ethnic group with this title that means Spider-Man is literally the essence of Marvel Comics, and you're putting us on that level, and you're bypassing 30 to 40 years of bullshit to where that couldn't happen. So I'm all for it. I don't have another 50 years to wait for a character to get the stature of that character. I don't mind somebody assuming that title, especially if the story dictates it. So I'm okay with it.
And then kind of what I was saying earlier is like I can and I have seen the point both ways, where like the Aquaman example, where changing his cultural background to be with Jason Momoa's, and now Aquaman is in the biggest DC movie ever made. So it's like that's something that I think that was a character change that I think definitely functioned very well for the character, and I'm glad they did. And at the same time, with Miles Morales, with him being created as his own character, that was another approach that I think he ultimately benefited from, because then he's not just Miles from his inception. He's a distinct original, like he's his own character. He's not just we're just changing Peter Parker, but from the ground up, Miles has his own complete history, and that's also benefited him a lot. So yeah, so kind of for both angles, I definitely see
this one right here,
the value of it.
How about Black Lightning?
Well, he had a TV show. What are you talking about?
All right, let's talk the reality of it. When it comes to the percentage of us that are buying comics, they're not jumping in because of Black Lightning. All right, I hate to say it. I'm not saying that's right, but even we recognize the stature of those big characters. And the same thing with Miles Morales. Black Lightning's been around longer than Miles Morales. It wasn't relatable to us. It was just a niche character for them.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but I will say that, let's say, Spawn and Blade, they are popular characters, but they're not necessarily, groundbreaking as much as like, a Captain America or Superman, for example. But like they transcended into popular culture because someone took the opportunity to create a film, or like a series of films about, these characters, or media, like, to keep them in the public consciousness, where they actually transcended from the pages that they were born from. And my point, like, is kind of like connecting to Black Lightning, because again, creating opportunities where they wouldn't otherwise exist.
The opportunity is not
that's my stance.
That's not the word. The attraction is what you have to create. In order to have the opportunity, you have to have Black folks that actually care about these characters. And when you establish that these characters are the pantheon, are at the top, and everything else is pretty much a side. Blade is a side character. Even if you could combine all the success of Spawn and Blade, and they would not even remotely get into the solar system of a Spider-Man.
That's what I'm saying, though, is that, like, creatives, like, teamed up to make like forms of media in order, and then they, like I said, they transcended into popular culture. Not many people even realize that they were comic book characters. Like, you don't have to pick up the source material to appreciate the media like produced like and inspired by these characters.
Yeah, but like I said,
Blade
on their
in particular,
best
yeah.
day, on their best day,
Now we're like
they're not.
So when you say best day, like I think we're
At
kind of
their
going into
zenith.
subjective, opinion.
No,
about
no.
the-
Let's talk about Spawn. Let's bring up the 2 examples you brought up, or Spawn and Blade.
Yeah.
All right, they're here. The notoriety of Spider-Man, no matter what color he is up here. I can't even see this bottom.
Why do we need? That's like you
because you don't have the time to replicate what you're trying. I understand what you're saying.
That's like you comparing like $1 billion movies to like movies that made like maybe like 300, but are still really really good.
But do I have time?
And deserve the right to exist?
Do I have? But see this. Nobody. You only deserve what you can sell, though. I mean, I understand fair and unfair, but you have to understand that, like I said, there's a reason why Black Lightning has never gotten to the point, and
because
it's had a
it was
TV
on
show.
this like minor platform. Sorry if I'm like screaming into the mic, but like
no, you're not.
Like platform like called the CW, which like a lot of.
Well, even its comics, they had its own comic forever, and it didn't move.
Okay, the exposure is also a thing too. You got to think like okay, yeah, these other examples that I mentioned, Spawn and Blade, they had like the major studio backing, and yeah, there was an incentive to push them because they needed a return on investment. With Black Lightning, it was already on a network that was hemorrhaging money and just like counting the days until they shut down. So yeah, like there were funds that were already sort of like depleted, and they were just sort of like running like into like bankruptcy, if not like into further debt.
But even all these characters have all been around.
But the circumstances, that's what I'm saying, is the circumstances.
Nobody was jumping in. The numbers for Spider-Man and Miles Morales are when all these other characters have been around, everybody had a chance to gravitate towards them, but they didn't. And then when you look at what happened with Spider-Man, once Miles Morales and Ultimate number 4 and all this comes out, and the representation that he's getting across the field, all these other things that you guys are bringing up have always been around, but they're not Spider-Man. It's we, and I know black folks that are like that oh, Black Lightning, that's cool, that looks cool. Spider-Man, they're little kids. Spider-Man, they're 3 generations. Spider-Man, Black Lightning, oh, that's cool. It's
the opportunity cost, is that's what's holding back a lot of these lesser known characters from, being given the platform and the opportunity. Again, you have to make
you have to start
somewhere. We can do this, but at the same time, like I said, we can't be time traveling and going back and because those characters that you guys are talking about are probably decades away from, if ever, having the kind of notoriety that I can put right on Spider-Man, that I can put right on John Stewart, right then and there. I have the legacy of the Green Lantern that I am bringing level with that Black man. I don't, these other characters, like I said, Black Lightning's been around forever. They may or may not may take off to certain degrees, but right now that prestige is there now. Marvel Comics has been spending 60 years building the prestige of Spider-Man to the point now where Miles Morales books clearly outsell. And, for a lot of these generations that are coming up, their Spider-Man is going to be Miles Morales. Yeah. There are people who've never even picked up a Peter Parker comic book.
Yes.
And it's because of that name. If it was Miles Morales, the Brown Hornet, I'm sorry, we're not having this conversation. It's Miles Morales, Brown Lightning. Miles Morales, Brown Lightning. No, it's canceled.
Well, do you think
Miles Morales, Spider-Man? Those things go together.
There is, something to be said about lesser known characters being given, like, let's say Moon Knight. I didn't know who the F Moon Knight was until Disney Plus, decided to give him a limited run series, or now we're getting a season 2. So I guess like my point is that there is potential to give platforms to these non-white characters that exist in canon and may or may not be part of like the public consciousness to any significant extent where we're actually talking about them actively, like a Spider-Man or an Iron Man.
Well, there was actually one I was I was thinking about it, kind of zeroing on, and thought would this guy would he count because he could basically be anybody. Do you think that Martian Manhunter maybe kind of fills that? Because look at like his history of adaptations, especially in live action. He takes human form. It's typically as a black man. So does he maybe kind of even though he's not a human character, but because that's how he's usually portrayed, do you think that maybe he kind of fills that role?
To the general audience, probably not, because the general audience doesn't like I said, he's been a member of the Justice League since the Earth was cooling, and he's probably if when you name, you know, for the average public who you would have to sell this to, and the average public black people that you would have to sell this to, he doesn't register. And I'm not saying you guys are wrong, but if you in order to make the mass movement to even get to this level, you needed to do what they did, along with all the other stuff. But like I said, Martian Manhunters are clear. It's another example of the inclusion at a certain level that doesn't matter at another. Even though you want inclusion across the board, in order to get to where you need to get to with Miles Morales, like I said, Miles Morales, the give me anything, give me any other character outside of the major pantheon of the one that they stuck him in. Nobody's going to care. That is a quarter comic book. But you attach him to Spider-Man, now you're talking, you know?
Well, my point was that it can kind of add another facet to, or I guess an additional point is, you can kind of add an additional facet to the complexity of these characters by giving them a non-white, representation. Like with Martian Manhunter choosing to be represented as a black man. Like, yeah, there's like him being like, you know, so old and like present on the planet, he knows like, you know, the marginalization and like, you know, the brutality acted on by this specific group of people. So I want to, you know, use that example, as well as on the flip side, Amanda Waller, you know, who is kind of, in my opinion, she kind of challenges this, you know, media and like pop culture perception of what a black woman character can be, like as far as like them, in my, you know, sort of perception, like being more of like a nurturing sort of, you know, mother figure, as opposed to like, you know, being a callous sort of like, you know, very transactional, very like brutal, you know, character who's like very ruthless as well. So I think like it does it to me, like, you know, it adds like another level of complexity to perceive this character if as like you like when they are represented as a non-white character. Just my opinion.
All right, no fourth. I do not represent the fear of Hollywood to spread it. I represent black folks not being interested in like 90% of the characters that you got, and they've been put on several platforms. You know, it's just not going for it. The numbers show that. It's not me talking. The numbers show that on all different platforms until you start attaching them to different characters. Now, if you look at, and that's not okay. I'm not saying that that's right, but where you're at is where you're at. You cannot deny where we're at. You only had like 2 or 3 writers that were even highlighting prominent black characters, Chris Claremont and who else? And that was because he put Storm first in forefront. And that's because he had sales backing him. And he had sales to stick with it. And he put her in a prominent leadership character of a prominent best-selling comic book. That exposure, like I said, there have been other black characters. Where's Misty Knight? You know, is anybody?
No, she was on the Marvel Netflix.
There you go. I like I said.
In fact, I remember watching Defenders like the whole time, like going like, "Oh, this is it. This is how she's gonna lose her arm."
Yeah, but you see what I mean? When you're selling it to the Joe Average, and even Black Joe Average, hey, let's do a Misty Knight movie. You could give me the best script in the world, and this shit could be Scorsese. But they're not going to buy it, man.
Okay, people love well, not like these show Defenders necessarily, but like the individual shows, and we're actually getting those back. Like I know they're going to be Disney Plus.
That's a different stream. That's a different stream.
Sorry, like,
now we're going to have a lot of heartache when we see that version of it. But yeah, I got what you're saying.
Yeah, no, like, gosh, I don't know how many times I can repeat giving platforms. Blah, blah, blah.
But here's the thing, though, and I understand what you're saying, but it's the iconic nature of certain characters versus others that move things to that level, though. I mean, I don't think we can get to that level if you don't have people of color actually buying what is being sold. And when that is, like I said, when you add that prestige and that title to us, somebody looks like us, that gets more people in the door. Then we can start having a Misty Night.
Well, that
I'm like
Go ahead.
kind of like saying the subjectivity of, you know, the quality of the products in which these characters are being introduced and, you know, being given real estate in the marketplace, you know. So like there's something to be said, like, you know, if the audience isn't responding, then maybe they have to like recalibrate the quality or like the approach to the producing a
Quality could be great. You have to get my attention. Like I said,
the market share is just prioritizing, like you said, Spider-Man this, Spider-Man that, Miles Morales this. Like they're prioritizing real estate for the characters that are bringing in the most money. They're not trying to, you know, platform other characters or take original characters. Not like there are a few examples that I cited, like Moon Knight, for example, but yeah, like those are few and far between.
Well, and this that kind of actually leads into, because I think this would be sort of the biggest maybe pillar to everything Ray is saying and everything William's saying, is that like at what point do you think like we'll cinematically see, well, do you think we will, and at what point do you think we will cinematically see a Black Superman? And I think I've asked William that before. He says, you know, he thinks, you know, we will. I'm just at what point, and will it be will it be like Calvin Ellis, will be Val-Zod, will be Black Clark Kent? Because I mean, when everything William was saying at the beginning about like how he would want to see this, you know, his origin rejiggered and tweaked to account for, you know, the cultural history of the idea of a Black Superman. You know, that in itself really is kind of, that in itself is an event. I mean, that in itself is a turning point.
Because you're taking a Kryptonian, you're taking this figure of a Kryptonian, which we've only known as Superman, coming from Kansas and all that, and you're attaching it to us now. You're saying that story is relevant to us now, and that's why I don't want to see a Black Clark Kent. And same thing with Nick Fury. What they did with Nick Fury, because if you would have supplanted Nick Fury and just changed his color and said he was still from the Howling Commandos, that's not accurate. That's actually bullshit. So when you bring him up into an era where we had integration into the military, to where a Black man could get to that stage and become a general at that point, other than Benjamin O. Davis and one of the handful that had to fight through segregation, then it's a lot. It's a different, because you're changing the nature of the character.
Okay, so I maybe this is like a lesser example, but Zor-El, for example, like Sasha Calle, I think played like a super powerful transgressive sort of like
I love her
performance that, you know, sort of like for a lot of people shattered their perception of what Supergirl could be, like, you know, and sort of like reestablished it as a very powerful, appealing, and relatable character.
Yeah, she killed it.
Yes, and like a lot of us would like to see her. In fact, like she was kind of like
I think it's a crime if we don't see her again.
Yeah, I want to see her and Cavill team up, for God's sake.
Right, and I do think there's something to be said about, you know, her presence in the film, sort of like, you know, again, like there was an opportunity created for her to, you know, be on screen in all of her, you know, non-white glory, you know, and have this sort of like original like interpretation of the character.
Okay, but here's the thing though, as much as I agree with that, it's the red S. It's the red S that gives you the notoriety. The Supergirl being derivative of Superman is what helps that. Because like I said, we have another character with Power Girl, nobody gives a fuck about for the most part, who's basically her, but without the Kryptonian lineage. We have plenty of different characters like that, but like I said, and I'm happy for like I think it's somebody should be committed if we never see her again as Supergirl. I don't know if we're ever going to.
I agree.
I've already laid out how it could happen, but you know, we're not going to get, that's a band topic.
I'll probably find a way to break that rule.
It's the red S that they're putting that ethnic group in that red S together. We're taking the prestige of that red S and matching it with that representation. But without that red S, if it's a Saturn or if it's a, you know, a Chihuahua emblem or something stupid, or if it's you know, Iron Girl, something, anything but that red S, then we're not talking about.
By the way, Fourth has a comment here that I'm not sure if I should bring up because he's definitely trolling me. Should I bring it up?
Go ahead.
Okay, it was when I was talking about the Black Superman, and he had to. Oh, Fourth, come on, dude. Do you really think?
Oh wow, what an asshole!
Oh, man, that totally went.
What an asshole!
Yikes!
Let's time him out. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, there you go. All this because I brought up Dave Bautista as well.
Well, before that, Rhea bringing up The Rock as president. So it's like you set us down this rabbit hole, Rhea.
Of course you did. It's either serial killers and aliens or
No, this is what you get when you invite someone with ADHD on.
Well, like I said, there's
well,
no wrong answer, but unfortunately, no matter what quality these other characters are, they don't have the prestige. It's like I could have Barack Obama could have be a senator. He could be one of a whole bunch of 50 senators. He could be a lawyer. He could be all that. A lot of people still didn't know who the hell he was, right? But how did he polarize everybody who heard his name when he ran for it and won president? Because now you have the office that's been around forever and had a bunch of white guys. To now it represents us. The likelihood of anybody, it's only been 45, 46, of being president is like 1 in a million to begin with. But prior to that, nobody. We had plenty of just judges all over the places. We got generals. We got everything. We got everything. We're everywhere now, and to some percentage, but not that one. You know, the prestige being elevated to the prestige of that office and that matching the prestige of him. That was all the difference in the world. Barack Obama was 48 years old when he got elected president. He was around people. He was a senator of Illinois. He was a Harvard law grad. He's been around, but it's till you attach that, right or wrongly, till you attach his name to that prestige, that's when, you know, the movers are shaking. Most black people did not know who he was until that office.
Yeah, by the way,
black people are not going to know who these characters are, the average character, but they know who Spider-Man is.
By the way, William,
they're waiting to come in, but there's no doorway for them.
I always forget. I always get this, like, which of the Val Zod or which one is based on is the Superman who's based on Barack Obama? Is it Calvin Ellis or Val Zod? Okay, thank you. I can never remember that for some reason. Yeah. I always get them backwards. I have no, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of it's not a sensitive topic as it was before. Imagine being Stan Lee. Imagine being those guys who were creating these characters and probably wanted them to be a lot different than what we eventually got because of what the time they were in. Well, at least we can entertain it.
I think there is something to be said about, agency. Like, you and I have agency to talk about.
This is her last time. This is her last time.
Correct and honest way that I think a lot of other folks who are not of Black descent, are a little, they kind of have to be invited to have these conversations by someone like us.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But
in a certain way. But that's just to say, like, Rad, I totally, appreciate your opinion, and I apologize if I misunderstood any of your points.
No, well, apparently I've been misunderstood by other people tonight because.
Well, you don't bite. They're gonna troll you now. They're gonna troll you now.
Come on, guys.
We're doing so good.
But no, I am, like I said, I'm for representation, but I understand there's a difference between Spider-Man and Black Lightning. There's just a difference. And like I said, for a lot of black folks and a lot of the collectors that come through here and that are buying, I just had some people come in today just buying up a lot of Spider-Man. They knew about all these other characters, but they weren't the top tier. And like I said, when you connect it with the top tier, you're sending out a message that we're on that level as far as representation for at least this particular book. And when you have the B's and the C's and the E level characters, it doesn't send the same message. Now, I'm not saying that that's 100% right. That just is what it is.
Yeah, I'm just like, again, I'm hammering home the fact.
I mean, I really gotta go to the bathroom, guys. I'll be right back.
You kind of have to take those steps to give, like, the E-listers,
but the audience has to buy in too.
Yes.
Yeah, the audience has to buy. Like I say, they've had these characters.
Right. They're not going to buy products that aren't of quality. So that, again, that's what I'm saying.
Well, they might not buy property that they don't recognize too. Like I said, these quality comics and stuff have been out there forever. It's just that the customer, the average black person, has not been making that connection with the prestige and the meaning that a Miles Morales makes out there. There's been plenty of comics out there that are great. It's just I get the sense from the customers I deal with and the people I talk to is that when you put that S or you put that spider and you put that title, you're sending out a message that not only are we out there, we're out there on a level that is literally Marvel Comics.
Like, introduce these new characters adjacent to that's the word of the night, adjacent. Introduce them alongside these legacy characters.
Oh,
like
100%.
And Captain America. Now we can be eased into, Falcon becoming Captain America. And then Ironheart, like, yeah, she's a protege of Iron Man. Okay, yeah, Iron Man's gone. So now she can, be uplifted, or, she has agency to take on the mantle of the quote unquote, not replacement, but sort of like successor to that.
She's in the conversation now.
Yeah. She that's what I'm trying to say is that's another strategy too. Just again, like have them introduced alongside these legacy characters that are moving the needle, and then that will like ease people into accepting them more and then buying their products.
And it's happening. It's happening because
so that's one strategy to like introduce like Black Lightning. If you put him alongside Batman, for example, that would blow.
But they put him in just. I mean,
they did.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. Now, Captain America, to me, I know a lot of people shit on Falcon and Winter Soldier. I loved it because what they are saying and what Steve Rogers is saying, Captain America is not a blue-haired, blonde-haired white guy. That's me wearing the uniform. Captain America is an ideal, and that everyone. He actually said this. And they had him say this, Captain America is an ideal that every American can aspire to. So when you see Sam Wilson becoming Captain America, it's not in Captain America, even in that in the show, they made that Captain America is an idea to be ascended to be all inspiring. And Steve Rogers is just a guy that's always been focused on it. But if you hold Captain America true to what Captain America was always supposed to be, then it doesn't have to be a white guy with blue hair. It doesn't have to be. You're not race swapping. You're not race swapping any more than you're saying that it's just because they're predominantly white sergeants in the U.S. Army that the first black ones that come in and get stripes are race swapping. No,
okay, I'm back.
Because it's a role. It is a role. It is a title to be ascended to, and that's why Captain America, when Sam Wilson first puts that on, and I wish he'd have put on a more traditional on the wings and all that, but that's what he was. But it's Captain America, and when they changed that title, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and like I said, we've associated Captain America with the blue-haired, blonde-haired white guy, and that was never the way it was supposed to be. So I'm glad to see that. And like I said, it's the importance of the prestige. There's a difference between a Falcon that's been around for 45 years and Captain America. Same guy, right? Same guy. He's literally been attached to Captain America, his best friend, his most trusted friend for a long time, between Bucky's. And he's been there. So he's been promised, he's been an Avenger, he's been all kinds of things. But Sam Wilson as the Falcon, and Sam Wilson, even if he's only Captain America for 3 issues, he's Captain America. He's Marvel Comics symbol of America. And that's saying that America represents a guy that looks like him, which is cool. The Falcon, original character, isn't perfect. But like I said, the way things have fallen is that certain characters have a certain prestige. And if you can have that representation, it's cooler. Yeah, it's going to take us some time to get to where, and they are doing these things. But once again, if you're going to open the door and sound the horn that, we're going to balance this out, you got some time to make up for it. I don't have 50 years for, an unknown character or a brand new character to maybe become what that might end up being. So, because there's not that many out there. Some of these characters have been around for decades and have not reached that level and have been prominently put in comics. Monica Rambeau has been in comics since the 70s. So it's I think it's changing a little bit, but damn, that wasn't in the thumbnail.
I apologize. They're supposed to be talking about wrestling.
No, actually, we talked about wrestling. We went into The Rock being president, which was also your fault. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, that should be yeah.
Like, oh hey, what about
She's doing to the stream what she does to the stream in the chat.
I do that. Yeah, that's how you know it's me in the chat.
All right, I'm gonna hand the chat over to you, Brad, because I am doing a fucking horrible job because I've taken it way.
Well, all right, let me. Actually, Anthony wants me to highlight.
He wants you to highlight everything he says.
There's one thing you said about the idea of Black Superman. So I guess this will be one more on the topic there. Honestly, William, for me, I don't think necessarily need a Black Superman. Just bring Black Blue Marvel, aka Adam Brazier, to live action.
Who is that?
I don't know either. So yeah.
Okay, there you just made my. I just argued. I've been making for a while. you know.
Okay, Fun says Sasha was a great Supergirl, but the question is, how is making her blonde and blue eyes again going to make her better than Supergirl already got? Man,
Well, it's gonna fit the story he's telling, and the story
yeah, because he's doing
right.
Woman of Tomorrow, but like I said,
he's doing Woman of Tomorrow.
But like I said, I think it's as absolutely insane if we don't ever see Sasha again. I
want to see her again. I
want
to need to see her replace what is the story he's going.
Yeah, I want to see her and Cavill team up so bad, and like just take down like parademons against like the war in against Darkseid. God, I want to see that so bad.
I would rather see her in a Kingdom Come than that, because that would be a much more epic battle. Her going against, and although Zachary Levi is making it very hard for probably anybody who will ever see him as Shazam again.
Yes, that's
if anybody's fucking things up. It's him. On every time he gets online, it's like, oh no.
He's like one step away from becoming a Fox News pundit.
And it's like, dude, I in my dream matchup, I need you to stop saying this shit. Stuff just But
it's I think it's definitely, if nothing else, it's probably putting a lot more people on the Rock's corner in that whole conflict.
Yeah, I mean, and
because he did not do himself any favors with that Instagram.
I backed the Rock from day one, because I thought the Rock
I did too.
Things that he had to do, and people tried to have the whole streams of there's the Rock's ego, this and that. I'm like, everybody at that level has an ego. It's how the
by the way,
happens,
actually another one that as far as like race swapping or race bending a character that I do think actually was beneficial was Hawkman in Black Adam. It was all this because I did really I liked Aldous Hodge a lot in the role, so I think
not from Thanagar. Which
I'm like very ignorant to the character, but I just know
he's kind of complicated.
Depending on he's either an Egyptian reincarnated Egyptian prince, or he's an alien space cop, and so they have to
reason. Fuck Crisis. Oh my goodness, that was if there's a character that one of the many that Crisis butchered. What they did with Hawkman was like, what? You're from what?
Yeah, no, I think that's why every time he's adapted, they have to find like some kind of way to sort of reconcile the two different origins, and they do tend to lean more into the Egyptian prince background, and that includes in Black Adam, which I think is actually probably the smarter move, because that is, I think, the more compelling origin for him.
But once again, Hawkman's been around since forever, but his origins have changed to the point where he wasn't. If you look at the early comics, it's not a black guy. It's the people assuming. But as better writers fleshed out his history, then the sense started to be, and they had no problem changing him to look like he did. Yeah. But then Crisis came, and then I'm like, I remember number one came out in 1990, and I had it as part of my subscription, and I'm like,
we could do it.
Crisis is like a goat that chews your balls off forever. It's like, oh my goodness.
We could do literally an entire stream on the complicated backstory of Hawkman, just on his own.
Hawkman, Legion of Superheroes, Superman, Earth 1, Earth 2, the Legion, just about everything. You could literally do a marathon on just Infinite. See you later. Infinite Earth jammed up, and Hawkman is like one of the under characters that just because he wasn't a top tier character to begin with, and then you just added all this bullshit, and then the Justice. I just like, oh yeah.
Zachary Levi is going through a supervillain era. No, I think he's just. I think he's just not. I think he's just not processing the whole situation in the most professional or personally helpful way.
He got booted from Marvel. He got booted from DC. I can somewhat understand why the salt is real.
well, not only that, but also, I mean, like initially, he was really trying to be the. He was like initially when everything happened last year, he was really trying to. He was basically like James Gunn and Peter Safran's biggest cheerleader, saying, "Hey, everybody, it's going to be cool," and because I think he was thinking that he was going to not be. Impacted by all that, and then he got a pretty bad wake up call, I think. And I like his portrayal of the character. I like both Shazam movies.
For a guy who was in two movies that should have never been made, one of which I really liked.
Here we go again.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Listen, look, these movies were made, and they strategically put you nowhere. You have to have a strategy and flow, or otherwise you're out there on an island. You have a great movie that nobody gave a fuck about.
Okay, so what do we think about the Black Label stuff, like as far as it being
Marvel
standalone.
Black Label or DC Black Label?
Oh, I apologize. Spotlight. That's what it is.
Oh.
The Disney Plus Marvel Spotlight stuff. I know you mentioned about like things like being congruent or not congruent, just like running parallel, and then
I'm clicking the button and she won't disappear, guys. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
pointing out plot holes in what William's saying, and then he's just like, oh,
I'm already ready for you. I'm already ready for you.
Let me bring up another topic that's unrelated to what you just brought up.
The Marvel Spotlight stuff, right?
Yeah.
What did it come after?
Oh, right. This it was a strategic move. It wasn't
what preceded. What preceded where we're at now with anything with Marvel?
I'm sorry, I don't know if I understand.
The MCU, billions and billions of dollars in successful movies that allowed for these chances to be taken. I'm not saying we never do these things. I like Black Adam. I like these movies. But strategically speaking,
but you don't do them in the chronology that they ended.
Yeah,
they
you
did them
didn't have
in
a support network to give these people's hard work a chance. I like Black Adam. People can knock for what they want. I had fun with it.
I love Black Adam.
That
I thought it was fan-freaking-tastic, Black Adam.
Yeah.
Me too.
The first Shazam was one of my favorite superhero movies. Period.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
So, but you made it under bad management. And as a substitute, you made these movies in lieu of instead of alongside of. See, with Marvel, for better or for worse, they established their beachhead and then they gave you everything after that. But they established that everything else in that flow. DC just do some shit here, and good stuff in some cases. But if you're going to gain the market, you have to have that infrastructure, and they didn't. They released these movies with no infrastructure, and they did what you would expect those movies to do. They failed. Were they bad movies in many cases? Yeah, Birds of Prey sucked. But even Birds of Prey, a movie that blew chunks, right? There are movies in Marvel that suck backwards. But they make money. Why? Because that infrastructure provides you with the benefit of the doubt. And look what happened when you didn't have the heavy hitters, the Iron Mans and the Captain Americas and the A-listers providing cover for the mediocre bullshit. When you took those guys away and you gave me Captain Marvel again, you gave me Ant-Man again, you saw that the results were remarkably different because they didn't have those big bombers overhead providing the cover. And that's what DC did. But see, with Marvel, they actually did it at some point. With DC, they started doing it, but then they doubted themselves. They started listening, and then we're at where we're at. Bad topic, but once again, Marvel has earned the credibility, and they have the infrastructure of what they're doing. You may have different varying opinions of their success, but I have a resume with them. What the hell do I have with DC? Especially the last 5
I have a resume if I have to pry stuff out of them with the jaws of life to get it.
Yeah, you got to fight them to give them money. I have to chase them down, tackle them down, take this money. All right, but anyway, hey, approaching one of our thumbnails. This is going to be a quick one because that's why Dark Side is in it, and that is tomorrow, 4 p.m. 4 p.m. We are Pacific time.
Yeah, not January 31st as was initially posted.
So December 31st Pacific time, 4 p.m. We are going to be watching Zack Snyder's Justice League. A troll-free version. Don't fuck with me tomorrow, guys.
Trying to remove me from the show, y'all.
No, you moved around, but the troll-free version. Don't come to this one. Just come with money to donate, but don't come with this. Take the foil hats off and let's just enjoy this. Like I said, my patience is going to be very thin tomorrow because this is for a completely honorable purpose, and we're taking this topic somewhere where it hasn't been in a while, and that's to usefulness. So tomorrow we're gonna talk. I'll be in the chat. Brad will be here. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna enjoy it. We're gonna try. Right now we are at 3,100. But hey, as close as we can get to 5,000 tomorrow would be great. So like I said, we're a little train. We're going uphill, and we're getting it done in a time that is really tough to do a charity. I think it's only going to get better for us from here. So tomorrow, 4 p.m. We got some other stuff. Patreons, keep an eye on your Patreon stuff. But yeah, we're going to be watching some other movies starting at noon tomorrow, and then rolling into that, and then afterwards from 4 to 8. After the 4 to 8 time slot, which is Zack Snyder's Justice League, we will have a standard open discussion stream that will lead us into 2024. So I'm going to be with you off and on for quite a while.
And it's obviously all going to be about The Rock running for president.
No. No, we are, like I said, guys. 2024, you guys. I might lose viewers because there are certain topics I'm just not going to entertain anymore.
Rhea, have you seen the Raid movies by any chance?
No, I haven't.
Nobody.
No, oh yeah, God, everybody. It's like I have. It's like this is going to be so much fun for me because it's like William, you, like so many people in the chat have not seen the Raid. It's like that's on the docket tomorrow. It's like, oh, I cannot wait for the reactions.
I mean, there's nobody's seen this movie. What is going on?
We're legitimately watching it. It's not like a riff tracks.
No, yeah,
no, it's not going to be in the riff tracks.
Okay.
No, it's not going to be a riff tracks because well, like how should I put this? How would you do a riff tracks to this?
Well, we've had 7 years of riff tracks.
No clue what this is. So.
Yeah, I don't know how you riff tracks this.
Well, you all the trolls that have been around.
I mean, like, is there any irony that we're going to be laughing at?
No,
there might.
That I'm going to put up with.
There might be if we were watching the English dub because the English dub always sucks, but it's from Indonesia.
All right, so now we are going to go into the coolest part of our thumbnail, which is Batman Who Laughs being the the Turning Point storyline.
I'm excited to learn about this because this character is like I see them everywhere and I have no clue. Like,
yeah, I'm kind of a newbie myself.
All right, so am I up on the screen? Make sure I'm always. What's that clicking sound? What's that clicking sound? All right, so Batman Who Laughs was Bruce Wayne from Earth 22 of the Dark Multiverse, that's another stream because there's a lot to that shit. He was a lieutenant to Barbados and the leader of the Dark Knights during the first Dark Multiverse invasion, and later the infected heroes of Secret Six. He convinced Perpetua, the creator of the multiverse, that's another stream, to choose him as her lieutenant over Lex Luthor as his ego limited his vision. The Batman Who Laughs continued on with his own plan to eventually acquire cosmic power and becoming a bigger threat than Perpetua. Okay. Heroic origin. Pretty much this is gonna be very familiar to you guys. The story of Batman Earth 22 is not much different from that of any other version of the Caped Crusader. When he was a boy, Bruce Wayne watched his parents get murdered in an alleyway, vowing vengeance against crime. He trained for years and became the hero Batman, fighting superheroes and blah blah blah. Batman took over many sidekicks as vigilante, child endangerment, including Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, who he got killed, Red Robin, as well as the son he had sired named Damian Wayne. So this is all lining up with everything else. Batman was a member of the Justice League when Lex Luthor of his world decided to become a hero and tried to convince the League to let him join. Batman was the only one to oppose his acceptance, as he knew Luthor didn't really believe in being a hero, just interested in himself. Joker's attack. Everything went sideways, and this is where Earth 22 becomes different than anything else. Everything went sideways when the Joker started killing spree in Gotham City. Well, that's normal. The Clown had discovered that he was dying from the same chemicals that had turned him into what he was and wanted to take everyone with him. He murdered all of Batman's enemies, including the Penguin, Catwoman, Killer Croc, and the Ventriloquist. The Joker also killed Batman's friend, Commissioner Jim Gordon, who accidentally sprung an acid trap, which is fucking cool. Burns his face off. Oh yeah, and the notebook that melted his face off. That was if they do a movie, that has to be in it. Batman was later drugged by the Joker, temporarily paralyzing his body, but not his mind, so he could witness the chaos that he caused without him being able to do anything about it. The Joker bombed a hospital in front of Bruce, and to make it personal, shot dead the parents of many young children in front of him before proceeding to inject the children with an incurable, irreversible strain of the Joker venom. According to the Joker, he did this in order to create a hybrid of both Batman and the Joker. Batman originally regained movement, and so traumatized and angry over what he witnessed, grabbed the Joker and broke his neck. Unbeknownst to the Batman, though, the Joker exhaled the toxic contained in his heart, which infected everyone close to him if he died. In this case, it was Batman. Transformation. 2 days after the murder of the Joker, Batman and Superman talked about what had happened. Though he felt no guilt, he affirmed that he was planning on making killing a regular thing. not planning on making anything killing ready. Superman assured him that the Star Labs branch of Metropolis had agreed to take care of all the kids who had been affected by the Joker venom. When Superman mentioned how one of the children bit one of the doctors, Batman let out a small laugh, which surprised both of them. And then when you watch it in the comics, it's actually the Joker's laugh. 3 days later, Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Red Robin were training in the Batcave, and this is my favorite part of the whole thing because it kills all these fools.
Wait, so is Robin canonically called Red Robin, or is that another Robin?
Red Robin is Tim Drake. Red Hood is Jason Todd. Nightwing is Tim Drake, and then Batgirl is and then the actual Robin is Damian Wayne. So that's where they are in this timeline. And talked Bruce about his worsening condition. And he's starting to turn white and look kind of crazy. Though they all offered to help the Bat, however they could. Batman rebutted that he didn't want their help and revealed to them that the real reason he called them all was that he knew they would be the first to notice something was wrong with him and warn the heroes, something he couldn't allow to happen. He then surprised them by doing something they were unprepared for. Pull out a pair of hidden machine guns and shoot them all dead. You guys know how I feel about the Bat family, and I know this is another universe, but I have no use for them, especially alongside Batman. So when he killed them all, I'm like, hey, maybe we got something here. Bruce later convinced his son Damian to join his side and transfer the boy with the Joker venom to be like him. He also retrieved the Joker transformed children from the original attack and turned them into his new army of rabid Robins, which was, like I said, visually, this is all stunning. All right, so it kind of like that's when you get into the all the Dark Knights and the metal and everything else and King Robin, all these realities that was created. But his was the one that stuck. I mean, he's got Funkos. I had one here. He's got his own comic. I mean, he you see the image everywhere. You see that image everywhere, and he's one of the coolest figures to have. But he just imagine the Joker's psychoticness, but with a somewhat measured temperament of Bruce Wayne, and the intelligence and somewhat restraint of Bruce Wayne. And the type of killing he does in this was kind of cool because I had some of them pulled up at my screen, like, there's him, and then he's fighting our Batman. The stories for me become weaker when he starts to come over and into our universe, because the universe he comes from, like I said, he turns it into a complete shithole, and it's great. But when he's fighting Batman, and it's like, it won't pull up here. But yeah, I'm trying to find the scene where he guns down. When he guns down like everybody.
So sorry if I missed your point. So when this character transcends into like the main timeline, you said that the story gets weaker.
Yeah, because now I have the real Batman fighting him. This is when he cracks his neck. Am I showing this on the screen? There you go. Yeah. I thought they were weaker. I thought the whole metal and everything else was superior stuff. But once he's face to face with Batman, it's like I already saw the contrast. Here we go. This is my favorite part because this is what I would do in the normal universe. I voted to kill Robin in the 1988 comic book. So that's when he just takes out these guns and blasts.
And I love that story that Jason died by like 120 votes or something.
Yeah, and knowing I was one of them, it gives me a warm fuzzy because the concept of Robin. So. Yeah, we came back, But.
Was this character created in the 80s?
Jason Todd was. Jason Todd was the second Robin. He replaced Dick Grayson once he became that's almost a Darkwing Duck. Once he became Nightwing, Jason Todd, he was horribly unpopular. They wrote him like a thug, and most people were never going to accept anybody being Robin other than Dick Grayson. Eventually, they would accept Tim Drake and Damian. No. Batman Who Laughs was created in 2017.
Okay, I thought that was a newer character. Yeah.
Nah, he's basically he had his first appearance. I had his first appearance, and it was in a what was it? It was not in Dark Knight's Metal. It was actually Dark Days, the casting #1 this September 20th.
Like those issues of the character.
Got it on order. Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing?
Oh yeah.
Oh nice.
Yeah. Got it on order. And I'm in the process of trying to get to all the Dark Knights comics, but some of them are a bit inflated. But just the imagery of him, just the imagery of this Batman, and just what he was, the possibilities of what he was. This is gruesome, dude. This is good stuff. Not for kids, but it gave me everything I ever wanted in comic books, which is, like I said, I want the 3Ds here too. And Dark Batman Who Laughs gave you dismemberment, gave you lots of death and destruction. Now, when they started making him into a god and all that, and I'm like, oh, okay, that was stupid. But I love this story, and this is some of the best selling stuff that was out there. And it changed. It didn't change the trajectory of our Batman or the Batman anywhere else, but it gave you a fully fleshed out version of a really fucked up Batman, who was take all the qualities that Bruce Wayne had and you mix them with what the Joker was, and that's just something that's like, I don't want that around. And he knew he was so hard to defeat because just like the Batman in our era, he knew all of his enemies' weakness. So he had all the knowledge. You're basically fighting a crazy Bruce Wayne who is already crazy. Bruce Wayne is a functioning sociopath. Now he's a functioning psychopath. And he's killing a lot.
I think this is an interesting concept to merge because it kind of like circles back to our original idea of how to introduce new characters. Although these are two legacy characters, kind of like making this amalgamation of them in the multiverse. Like, I don't know, maybe like two big examples, like, or even just like Iron Man and Captain America, Iron America, or Iron
Patriot.
Oh, that all exists.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm like, there's nothing original under the sun anymore. That's what I'm saying is just like, that's an interesting concept, to have like a multiverse, version of like a completely new character, but that has these, well-known traits of existing characters.
I want everybody to just take a look at just these useless characters just being gunned down. I know it's like a different universe. It's not, and you can kind of see his white face. He's already got the red lips. But like I said, the only reason I have the Batman family around is to kill them off. Individually, they're great in their own comic books, but the Bat family, the whole 8 is enough with Batman as the dad. I'm like, oh, good Lord.
Batman looks like a character right out.
Yeah, he does. And then those horns, he looks like a Cenobite. Definitely looks like a Cenobite.
Oh yeah, Hellraiser,
yeah. I mean, he raises hell, and he's, like I said, just imagine this is the worst case scenario.
Now that I think about it, that smile, yeah, you're right. That does have a Hellraiser feel to it.
No,
I don't want to do that. Damn it.
The Spawn issue for sure. Like, it gives me that vibe.
And especially if they draw them at the way they draw them like that. I mean, you have some people. This is the one I ordered. This is the essential Batman Who Laughs. This is not the book. This is the print, but it's the cover of it. Look at that. This is beautiful. If I were into tattoos, this would be one of them.
No, it's cool. I think like I like the ones where he's just like, you see like his lanky body, it's like
that whole Ichabod Crane thing is going on there. Yeah. That's the spice. That's like I said, he just looks haunting, and you can take the human element out of him because he's no longer
that one really is Hellraiser.
Yeah, this one's fucked up. This is my neck tattoo, people, right here. This is going right here. Just that look, and he doesn't even need to. He can see through that, but it's fucking in the Funko Pop. Every time I get that pop in, it sells. I ordered a box of 10 of them, and when I as soon as I published them on Instagram, they were gone, man. So that's our comic book storytelling moment. I'm going to cut some of these short because thanks to Brad, we kind of spent some time on that. I'm just kidding.
Excuse me.
But that's fine. It's not like we're going to be on the air, not be on the air. So what did I cover? I covered, let's bring up Doctor Who, man. You guys most of you guys are in here were with us on what was it, Sunday? Were you with us?
Oh, sorry. I've been absent for a while.
William is getting a tattoo next year, confirmed.
neck on the neck of that, what you just saw.
No, right on the side of his face, like Mike Tyson.
Oh, like Mike Tyson? I like this doctor. Oh, I'm not sharing.
I've been hearing some good things about them.
And and there's been people that were complaining, and they were out there, and people were like, oh, Doctor Who is going woke and starting to address issues, and it's all woke. And it's like the Star Trek people. Star Trek is woke. Yeah, since 1966.
Like, where have you been?
Doctor Who literally had episodes that dealt with civil rights, in war, in famine, in mass extermination for 60 years. But here come the cavemen. How come there's got to be transgender people in the movie, in the story? Because there's transgender people in real life. How come it just? Hey, guess what? Hey, guess what? Hold on. I got to make sure we're doing this. There's black folks in real life too, and I heard people like, "How come he looks like this and that?" I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry. We're 13% of the population, people." And they just found a way to complain, and some of it was legitimate in its opinion, but some of it you just you just want them to slip up and say the caveman stuff that they want to say out loud, but they'll get ratioed, so they don't do it. So I love this doctor so far. Granted, I've only had a sample size. I've only had one full I don't know what I'm doing. One full episode of him, but I enjoyed the episode. It was goofy, but Doctor Who's goofy. David Tennant started out as a bumbling, tripping over his foot clown, and that was part of his character, but he progressed into something that I loved. But I looked at this current Doctor, and there are elements of, RJ was probably, sent to bed already. But because I know he's a big Doctor Who fan along with me. I felt elements of the fourth Doctor. I felt elements of the ninth Doctor, and I felt elements of 10th and 11th. All my favorite Doctors were I see signs of these. And somebody pointed out, and it's not just because he's the first Black Doctor. He's actually not the first Black Doctor. The Timeless Child is, but I put her in the same lineage as I put the War Doctor, because technically she's a fugitive doctor. She's technically out of time, whereas nobody recognizes John Hurt's Doctor as a doctor because he wasn't a doctor in that sense. But she's the first Black person to play the character. He's the first casted regular that will be in the actual for the next 3 years, maybe. Hopefully longer, depending on it. Now, there's one in here that I don't know if I'm too I saw some 70s action here. I don't know if I see Shaft here, but I don't know if I'm on board with that. But I got to see with the story. I'm assuming that they time travel to the late 60s, early, because he's got a Rule 40, and he's got sideburns, and he's wearing one of those Richard Roundtree suits that he wore. And she looks like she just but I'm pretty sure the story will dictate it. But I want to see, like I said, when this Doctor goes back to some times that are uncomfortable for a guy that looks like us, because he's a time traveler. Obviously, I guess there's ways he can make him, but I to me, like I said, they've dealt with everything else. Why people would have a problem with them with this, I have no don't know, but they came up with every reason. The haters are out there, and then it's always all right. There's a hashtag out there, RIP Doctor Who, and I'm like, oh my goodness, he's had one episode under his wing, and here you guys come. They didn't like Jodie Whittaker. I didn't like Jodie Whittaker's run, not because of her, because the stories weren't good. But the first story I've seen this guy, and I love the Christmas specials. I thought that they did the whole cop-out thing with the 10th Doctor being around for the 14th being the 14th Doctor, and for them finding ways, spoiler alert, Christmas is over, and them finding a way to keep him because they they co-reincarnated, which was some complete bullshit that after 60 years they pulled out of their ass because people love David Tennant and never want to say goodbye to him. That was one of the,
that kind of revitalized the series for a lot of folks, right?
Yeah, that was his years as Doctor was this the generation that's around now. That was their Doctor, kind of like the people who were around in the 70s. The fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, was their apprentice because he had a 7-year run. So he was on Sci-Fi Channel, rest in peace, Sci-Fi Channel, pre-Sharknado, Sci-Fi Channel. Before it became a fucking joke. The real side, the Stargate SG-1 Sci-Fi Channel, the Twilight Zone channel, that one. Doctor Who was one of the flagships of what was called Sci-Friday.
Yeah. Everything William said there, I agree with, except for Sharknado. That's the best achievement of all time. Like I said, if not in all of the science fiction.
Yeah,
I don't
whatever.
endorse your
Yeah.
anti-Sharknado agenda.
But you had Bill, David Tennant come back in, and you had Capaldi's run, which was relatively short, but Matt Smith's run was a big, very popular run. So they, for about 8 years, they had a steady flow of doctors. Now it went to BBC UK, and then now it's on Disney Plus. People were like, nobody watched the Christmas special. It was this. I'm like, oh, by the way, you're giving me BBC numbers, and nobody here was watching it on BBC because they put it on Disney Plus. So I didn't agree with that move, but you can't really gauge the success. I really enjoyed this Doctor Who. Most people who I know who've been following Doctor Who for a long time enjoyed it along with me. He's fun. He's quirky. His dress code, notwithstanding the Superfly outfit here, but his normal dress is going to be it reminds me of Christopher Ellerson's run. Not too crazy, but he's going to stand out a little bit. But I'm gonna have fun with this guy. I hope he's a doctor for a good long while. So, all right. So I'm gonna speed through that. What else we got, Brad? What's on the thumbnail?
Yeah, let me go ahead and get in the chat here.
No, I'm just kidding.
And I apologize for departing early in the show, but I have to catch a flight early in the morning, so I'm going to be heading out in a few minutes.
Okay, let's go. So,
yeah, that we have a different list of topics that I'm going to bring up as soon as she's gone. Yeah, it's got that the thumbnail. The thumbnail is not the real thumbnail. The list of topics, we actually got some really raunchy shit. It's that we got, it's anti-woman, it's anti-progressive. We're gonna no, I'm just kidding.
So you're flying back home New Year's Eve?
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow morning.
Okay. So, are you gonna be home in time for like the ball to drop and all that?
Oh yeah, you're leaving in the morning.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'll try to tune in.
Yeah, I just always anytime I hear about people like flying on like the 4th of July or Christmas Eve or anything like that, I'm like, okay, so you guys gonna be back on the ground in time for like all the festivities?
How long is your flight?
Oh, just an hour.
Oh,
yeah,
oh okay.
Back to the Bay Area.
Yeah. Oh, it's only takes an hour to get up there?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna head down. All right, it was great chatting.
All right,
with you.
Is your ride actually here?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're going to what used to be Square Bar.
Okay. Well, let me know. Text me. Let me know that you're on the. You're actually on the thing, and that you haven't been put in a trunk somewhere, and
Oh, yes, I know.
Text me the code words. The code word is rescue.
Okay.
Right. See you, Rhea. Happy New Year.
All right. Send me the Uber thing so I know who to track down if you don't make it.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you later.
Bye.
All right.
Yep. And Spider-Man.
Yeah. Now she's got. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, now we're going to talk about like all the stuff we were withholding. Yeah.
No, we
covered. Fourth. Fourth. Come on. He'll always find a way to make a one-liner out of anything.
Very interesting show so far.
Richard Roundtree ever ain't worn a suit like that, William.
You don't make me pull up some Richard Roundtree.
Yeah,
you are way colorful, flashier.
He just passed away like 2 months ago. Right?
Dude. 82 years old. Let me show you. I picked up all my timeless stuff today. So now I have all the timeless covers. I love Alex Ross, and this is one of my favorite ones. This Galactus is so pretty. What else did I pick up today?
That's a RoboCop.
Wow. I'm going to have to get rid of some people out of my life I can see. This one. I bought this as a kid.
Yeah, I saw you share that earlier on Twitter.
Oh, I love this. This is this run. This McFarlane run.
You autograph that this year at Comic-Con?
I want to get the original. This is the facsimile. I want to get the original one autographed. Next time around, I might do it because I could only get the one. So but I got the most important one that I had. But this one right here, I never got autographed. And there's the 301, which is the same cover, but it's just with him in there because he gives up the black costume at the end of this one, and in the last panels of it, he's flying around, and that was a wish by McFarlane because McFarlane thought he could make a more spectacular looking Spider-Man if he had all the colors available to him. So they did a facsimile cover of this one. Another one they did a Marvel facsimile. I love these covers because some of these issues are super expensive. And I get to put something like this in the hands of a brand new collector. I can talk up a story, but then I just realized I just talked up about $500-600 worth of comics when I can just do this,
Yeah, you shared that earlier too. Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past. Story we've covered here.
Yeah.
And this is a John Byrne, and everything's the same. The ads are the same, the back ads are the same. So I had some fun with that today. What else did I pick up? Picked up a couple of different things. Oh man, this is another one I posted. Oh, I love this cover. This cover is beautiful. This is my other neck tattoo right here. Catwoman with the goggles. I don't see how many people cosplay with this version of Catwoman. Snarky J, one of the people I follow. I love. This is like her uniform, man.
It's weird too. We haven't seen like cinematically. I mean, you would think the goggles would actually be a pretty.
No, the goggles. She's got the goggles in the Batman, right? I thought she has the goggles in the Batman.
Well, she's got she got this. Am I missing something? Did she have the goggles?
I think she has the goggles because she's riding a motorcycle. Yeah.
No, are we mixing her up with Dark Knight Rises, where she has the goggles that she flicks down?
No. Look up Selena Kyle. I'm going to bring some more stuff.
Okay. Oh, it was Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman. I can't believe I would miss that. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Am I really missing that part of the movie somehow? Because I've seen the movie many times.
Sucks getting old, doesn't it?
No.
All right.
I am not getting Alzheimer's. No.
Well, we don't joke about Alzheimer's. Hey, take over for a second, Brad. I got to use the bathroom. I've had to go for like 2 hours, but I didn't want to move her out the way. So.
No, I feel you, man. Okay.
Grab that.
All right. See who's in the comments here. A lot of people, of course, Rhea, bye. Yeah, I should probably drop in when she hopefully should we can see her tomorrow night when we do the stream. She just short run, so we can see her tomorrow for the streams on that. Let's see. No, I didn't think she was forgettable. I'm just trying to pick because she has the ski mask for the Catwoman mask, and she has the motorcycle helmet at different points. I'm trying to pinpoint. Was there a moment in the Batman where she has the goggles on? She didn't have it at the part where she's picking that safe. Did she? How is that? How am I? I don't know how that's possible. If it's there and I'm forgetting it somehow, I don't know what the hell is happening. But yeah, what I was mentioning a minute ago is that it would seem to me like that look of Catwoman, with the goggles would be pretty, because any big screen adaptation of Catwoman so far, they've all done a pretty significant kind of reinvention of her look, and I would think the goggles actually would be a pretty, you would not. It's something they could carry over fairly easily into any version of Catwoman. So, Kung Fu plus Alzheimer's, maybe I should come on. I think we're mixing that up with her and Dark Knight with Anne Hathaway and Dark Knight Rises, because she had the goggles that they would sit on her head, and they would look like cat ears, and then she would flick them down when she needed to, target something. So yeah, and they kind of got a 2-for-1 deal there with the goggles with her. So I think we're mixing that up. Might just be because William hates Dark Knight Rises. Patrick Holmes better than Kravitz. Okay, Fourth is definitely endorsing her. Like the Batman Hush depiction of her character. Oh no, fun! Come on, fun. Well, the thing about it is too is that Halle Berry, she could actually, I could be a pretty legit, I think, pretty good Catwoman. You just need to give her a script that's not horrendous, And here's the other thing too about her Catwoman. Yeah, about because she has that ridiculous outfit that she wears in the Catwoman movie, but she has that first one she puts on when she's fighting those guys in that jewelry store. And it's like if they had just maintained that, I don't know if it definitely wouldn't have made the movie colossally better, but it at least would have given her an outfit that you could actually take seriously.
What's that?
There's a little bit of talk about Catwoman here, and Fun's having some fun here. And I mentioned, the thing about it is too with the Catwoman movie, it's god awful, but And part of it is because of that ridiculous outfit they put Halle Berry in. But she has that first outfit, kind of the leather. She has the first one when she's fighting those guys in the jewelry store. That leather kind of biker suit. Well, no, but that would have been. You could take that seriously though, as like a Catwoman suit with the mask and all that. You didn't like that one either? Okay.
Vomit worthy. It was really hard to
No, I'm not. I'm telling you that you are not going to get any praise of the 2004 Catwoman from me, but it's like that. I think they could have saved some kind of face with that if that had been like the costume they maintained through the whole thing. Travis is like 3'11". My Cat. Come on, she's not that short, man. Ruth dropping in. How's it going, Ruth?
Hi, Ruth.
Better playground scene, Catwoman best. Daredevil. Every single thing in Daredevil is better than everything in Catwoman.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's the first time I heard that.
No, he actually, if you look at like the dark judges and the judge, right? That's actually they look. That would be like if Batman was one of the dark judges.
Doctor Who's. It's not dead. I mean,
if it were dead, we're not talking about it.
Yeah,
show tonight.
No, it was dead from 1988 to 1996, and from 1996 to 2005. Yeah, but it's alive. It's more alive than it was during those times. That's for sure. Oh, of course. Guilty. 100% guilty. That's me. Look at
just like DC, Marvel for nerds, Star Wars, Star Trek.
I'm it's 11:31 Pacific time in the middle of the night, and I'm sitting surrounded by geek stuff. That's me.
It's not the term of derision it used to be.
Yeah, when you couldn't get laid as a nerd, now it's like all the hot cosplay chicks are all nerds, and they're with like dudes, and I'm like, wow, I got my ass kicked, or people tried to kick my ass for looking like you. Now you got the hot chick at the convention. All right, cool, congratulations.
I mean, I would think you're big enough they would leave you alone. Even back then.
Once I hit puberty, people didn't fuck with me. Once I hit my growth spurts, it was because that William, he's much bigger than the last time we tried to fuck with him.
Yeah, I'm actually fairly built. You're taller. I'm about 5'11". I'm pretty built, but I only got that way once I was about 21, and I look back, it's like, why didn't that happen back when I could have used it?
Yeah, no. Well, once I joined the army, it's like I got toned. It wasn't just me being big; I was toned. And like I said, you got people who see me coming and they're like scared of me, and I'm like, what? What about this scares you? I'm like, you're a pussy if you're scared of me. I'm sorry, but all right. So, Pink Floyd, The Wall, arguably one of the greatest albums in history. Not my number one Pink Floyd album. Pink Floyd, I'm sorry, not Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Did I say The Wall?
Yeah, I think you might have,
Dark Side of the Moon. It is largely considered the greatest work by Pink Floyd. I listened to the album along with The Wizard of Oz because after the third roar, if you play Dark Side of the Moon alongside, it actually matches up with Wizard of Oz, which I think is hilarious. It has some really great songs on it though. Brain Damage actually plays when the Scarecrow, they find the Scarecrow. It's funny. Us and Them. Time is the best song on the album in my opinion. On the Run, Money is legendary. I mean, you hear Money played in places that people don't even know it's Pink Floyd. Like you'll hear it at the casino sometimes. Any Color You Like, The Great Gig in the Sky, Speak to Me, Breathe. These are all great albums, or great, great singles off the album. And they all have a theme to them. They all, and I think that's why, people, when you listen to this album, it's like listening to one long song at different paces. and different tempos, but it's all seems related. This was the album that put them on the map as far as like super band. I mean, they'd obviously had other albums. They had "Wish You Were Here" afterwards, but even Roger Waters said once you got to the Dark Side of the Moon, that was the zenith. That was the pinnacle. Everything else was rubbish. I disagree with you, Roger, because your best thing that you did and threw your heart into the wall was was the best for me as far as Pink Floyd goes. But this is a 9-track song, a 9-track album, which was, pretty average for 19. This is 1973, by the way. So I wasn't even alive when this came out. They started making it in 1971. There's an entire story behind the making of this album. The packaging, the album was originally released as a gatefold LP sleeve divided by Hypnogenesis and George Hartle. It's Hypnosis, but it's spelt all fucked up. Hypnosis had designed several of the band's previous album covers with the controversial results. EMI had reacted to confusion when faced with the cover designs of Adam Heartmother and Obscure Bright Clouds, as they expected to see traditional designs, which included lettering and words. The design was inspired by a photograph of a prism with a beam of white light projected through it and emerging with colors of visual spectrum that Thornton had found in the 1963 physics textbook. So that's where the very famous cover came across. Like I said, this Dark Side of the Moon is literally their first big mega album, and they would only release a couple more. You would have Wish You Were Here, then you would have 3 years later you would have The Wall, and then the final cut, and then they were done for the most part. They would release another album in 1987, and then their best album without Roger Waters was Division Bell. There's a song on the Division Bell called High Hopes that they released it in the 90s, and it felt like an alternative album, alternative song. So Pink Floyd, but this was the album. This was what, to me, in many ways, even though you didn't have alternative until the 90s, what Pink Floyd was doing with progressive rock, if you listen to a lot of the stuff that came through the 90s, it had its roots. And that's why Division Bell, which was released in 1994, fit right in with that era, because Pink Floyd were the pioneers. It started with Dark Side of the Moon. We should do a watch along one day with Wizard of Oz and Dark Side of the Moon, because I've done a whole screening of it here where I would have it played, and then we would start it right, because there's an instruction that tells you start play at the second roar of the lion, of the MGM lion that plays, and it's just a trippy album. I only listen to Punk Floyd. They don't exist. It's my favorite album from people. This is a lot of people's favorite album. Time is great. Time, the lyrics of Dave Gilbert's lyrics in Time. There are some lyrics in there I used to have memorized. Hold on. There's a particular set of lyrics. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up. Lyrics to Pink Floyd Time. All right. Lyrics have, there's a certain it's all about, basically, like I said, the cycle of life. Okay. And you run to catch up with the sun, but it's sinking, racing around to come up behind you again. The sun is the same in a relative way, but you're older, shorter of breath, and one day closer to death. And it's just, that's what this, to me, this song is about, the inevitability of time and the cycle of time and all that comes with it. It's it's my favorite. I think I said it already. It's my favorite song on the album, and it is. All the lyrics to this are super deep, man. They mean more than just the title track. Pink Floyd, lyrically, song for song, probably has the most meaningful lyrics of just about any band, arguably any band out there. I did not get to see them in concert, because I was too young, and they spent most of my life broke up. So yeah, that's one of the regrets that I wasn't old enough to buy a ticket to see them in concert. When Roger Waters comes back out here to Vegas, I'll see him, but it's not the same. David Gilmour performing on his own thing, it's not the same. I would, but man, this album that's the one thing about this music. It's immortal. It's out there. How as good as they sound then, this is going to stay that way. And this album, because when you hear them perform now, and these songs, it's a bunch of 80-year-old men. Not everybody can his voice cords at age. Who replaced Sid Barrett? Dave Gilmour. Dave Gilmour replaced Sid Barrett. Dave Gilmour joined as an extra, I think, right in the late 60s. Sid Barrett was still the lead singer, and Sid Barrett had fried his brain. I think with LSD, he just did too much, and it just fried his brain. And he was never again the same again. He was never, he lived 20 some odd years later, but 30 years later, but he never was the same again. And they had to replace him with what Dave Gilmour moved into that slot as the co-writer, co-lead singer. But Sid Barrett, and that Shine On You, Diamond, that song was about him. Wish You Were Here, the song Wish You Were Here, it was a song that Dave Gilmour wrote about them wishing Sid was there because he couldn't be. And they had to move on without him, and they broke their hearts. Dave Gilmour always made sure to the day Sid Barrett died that he got paid. And that's one of the things I can respect. Royalties, he got his royalties. He always made sure that Sid Barrett and his family got those royalty checks and made sure that, the record companies didn't screw him out, even though he wasn't part of the band anymore. But yeah, Dave Gilmour replaced Illuminati confirmed. Okay.
Back.
I didn't even know you left. I'm sorry.
Oh, you didn't hear me say I was stepping away for a second?
I was in my own world. Push play on Dark Side of the Moon after the third line. Is it the third line, Roy? I thought it was the second, but yeah, it could be the third. Is Pink Floyd is good. Scorpions is different. Scorpions has some great shit. I don't think they were ever as big as Pink Floyd, but they have good songs. Still Loving You. There's a lot of Scorpion songs that came out, but they were never as big. But it's all point of view. If you like the Scorpions, you may not like all of Pink Floyd. So I guess that question is subjective. But as far as success rate, hey, how you doing, Larry? What's going on, man? No, I'm not gonna sing. I can't. You want to hear Kermit the Frog and Cookie Monster's voice on your stream tonight? No. Anyone listen to Roger Waters' re-recording of Dark Side of the Moon? I've heard parts of it, and I'm like, okay. It's just the same as hearing him perform it because he performs all the songs. Larry crashing the party. The party's tomorrow night or in 18 minutes. What is the Pinot? What Nora? What are we talking about here? Did I miss something? He's his liquor. Okay, he's his liquor choice of liquor tomorrow night. All right. Fourth, are we all at the house party later today? Wow, that's a long flight for you. William, my girlfriend is your age. Oh, okay, sorry. And we went on a great Playboy rant today. I thought you'd appreciate it. I'm going to link her this video and see if you guys agree. I'll do some Pink Floyd. Yeah, it's an amazing band. And like I said, it's just the coolest thing about Pink Floyd is they weren't afraid to experiment with things. A lot of their sounds and tempo, not everything worked all the time, but it's out there for it to be interpreted. And, it may work for someone else years down the line. And a lot of the stuff that they did in those middle albums, the Wish You Were Here, Dark Side of the Moon, and The Wall, a lot of progressive bands and bands to this day use their influence. You can if you listen close enough, you can hear influence of Pink Floyd in a lot of basic bands, which you've made it when you've done that. Okie dokie. It sounds better on vinyl. The compression rate to their music they're one of the groups of the 70s that do sound better in their original format. You can listen to them. Most of the stuff I was able to get my hands on was later on after that. But when you listen to Pink Floyd and the way the albums and the stuff that was done then, their sound is just coalesces right perfectly with the compression sound of the sharpness of vinyl. Never not vinyl. Well, yeah, not everybody can. Vince, I'm going to need your help tomorrow. I will be messaging you with the stuff we're going on with tomorrow. Vinyl's expensive these days, and Pink Floyd vinyl in good condition is really expensive, depending on where you go. If you get it in good condition. Larry's in Brooklyn. Where are we at with our fundraiser? We're still at 3,100, but you know what? Tomorrow is going to be the day to all that. I would like to see us get as far as we can, but I'm not going to.
Well, like I said, it's like this is very much an ongoing thing, and of course, there's we've essentially got 3 other Rebel Moons coming up, next year, so
yeah, so we'll
plenty of time to.
I'm gonna have to email them and find out what do they want me to do is with this money. Do you want me to continue to raise, or do you want me to retire it and start a new one?
AFSP. I mean, they put out a couple of statements, really, thanking the Snyder fandom for everything we've done. So they probably would. I would imagine they would say, yeah, just keep it going.
I got a T-shirt. They sent me a T-shirt. Yeah. So that's in the mail. So yeah, that is why Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon is this turning point. It's a turning point in a lot of ways that a lot of people won't realize it. But if you are experiencing Pink Floyd, especially this album for the very first time, you might line it up with a lot of stuff that you've listened to for most of your life, and you might, oh wow, okay, I see that now. Like Hendrix. Listen. Hold on. William, I told I got you on the fundraiser. You'll never get over 5,000 to beat what by what? Okay, January. What can I? You'll get over 5,000. Are you saying in the month of January? What can I get out of it? I don't know, man. I mean, I got prizes and stuff. I got, I mean, what are you looking for, Fourth? It can't be too crazy. It has to be legal. But what, shoot some requests at me. I'm willing to, like I said, I got my own ideas, but I'm always open to other ideas. Like I said, I was willing to dress up as Wonder Woman. Yeah, I was willing to, like I said, I got the Wonder Woman costume. Sorry. Oh, he's drunk. Okay. So, all right, now not drunk Buzz, but
yeah.
You're already kind of out of your mind to begin with. So I mean that's enough. All right, William Brad has a strange question. Are you superstitious?
Kind of depends on. Well, I don't know. Can you be more specific, Ruth?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
If black cats cross my path, I like to not go down that path.
I mean, I like what's one of the I definitely I avoid breaking mirrors. If that's maybe the good.
I worked in home improvement for 26 years, so I broke plenty of mirrors. And my luck didn't get any shittier than it was. How much breakage could you do to where you're just out of luck? It's not like Final Destination or some shit like that where the fucking little glass cut your head off.
One time, actually, this is a true story. I think I was about 16. I was practicing throwing punches. I was a little bit too close to a mirror, and there you go.
Dude.
I got the scar right here on my knuckles on my right hand. I'll show that to you sometime.
Walking under ladders, I don't do because I don't want shit to fall.
Yeah.
I want 5 minutes to run through the Sci-Fi Center and collect as much. Okay, but I'm going to empty out the store of like the majority of it, and then
I remember they had something like that when I was a kid on Nickelodeon, where the kid would be given a cart, and you got 5 minutes to just sprint through Toys R Us and just grab whatever you want.
Oh man, remember Double Dare?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I watched that for the month.
One day we'll get the Wonder Woman costume, but not for this event. Yeah, I don't foresee.
Well, tomorrow we got a Wonder Woman costume coming up on the screen.
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
Oh, so you made it. Okay, cool. There you go. You're not typing this from the trunk of a crazy Uber driver, are you? Or a Lyft driver? All right, cool. So you remember the code
twice. Blink twice if you are.
I don't smoke weed. No do drugs for me.
Yeah, I remember doing that. Having those assemblies when I was a kid.
Yeah, he's drunk. Spider-Man, thank you all for a great conversation. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being the co-pilot for the in-person co-pilot. Even though she was just a little head behind me, I don't the camera's angle. I don't have a lot of room to give you a full wide angle. All right. So
I think actually to kind of go back to your question, Ruth, about superstition. I will say the whole being part of the Snyder fandom and like kind of watching a lot of these events unfold with especially with the movie we're going to be playing tomorrow. I will say it did maybe make me a little bit. It did maybe instill in me a little bit more of a belief in like what's the best way to put it? Maybe
faith, maybe? No.
of what?
Faith?
Well, that's not the right word because I mean, full disclosure, I am a practicing Catholic, but it did maybe instead maybe fate is the best word because they're the way a lot of that played out. And like a lot of the dominoes that kind of fell with the behind the scenes like that. I mean, there are actually a lot of things. There were a lot of mistakes that were made behind the scenes by WB that actually did end up playing into the fandom's favor in a lot of ways in terms of like getting that released. And it did maybe put within me the thought of like maybe there is maybe sometimes with certain things there are players or maybe the chessboard is maybe being a little bit sometimes manipulated in the favor of things I would like it to be. At times, maybe is the way to put it. It might sound a little bit clumsy, but
Yep, it is.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to describe, but I mean but again, with how that all played out, there is it's hard not to look back on a lot of that and think that there was maybe like some kind of like maybe the chips fell in such a favorable way in the right sequence for what we were trying to do. It's like, yeah, maybe there was like maybe some kind of maybe the universe stepping into the mix in some ways. I don't know, but you guys go.
Yeah, we did.
Well, yeah, it was just like a lead into to the ZSJL.
It was a lead into what we're doing to later on today.
Yeah, everything I just said there. Again, it's hard to put into words, but I just look back on so much of that and think, and just think about like, I mean, it's a story that so many of us are going to be like telling our children, our grandchildren, just passed down from generation, and it's hard not to look back on that and just kind of ponder like, just the why of it all, really, and not just the why of it all in terms like the the charitable side, the AFSP work and all that, but the why of it all, like why did I come into this? Like how why did how and why was I in the right place at the right time to be a part of this fandom and to be a part of this movement and to be a part of this conversation is maybe the way to put it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but of course, yeah.
All right, guys. I think William and Brad, Batman Beyond, goated or what? No.
Ruth gets me. I'm glad she did. Yeah, I was actually about to pull that up.
I'm like, no. Why would it be? I mean, it lasted 3 years. We've got 30 years to make a movie out of it, and we haven't. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll get one with James Gunn. Who knows?
Yeah, Sports says Kung Fu Catholic should be your channeling, Brad. Okay, maybe I'll make it that.
That'll get you boycotted.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're approaching 3 hours. I don't think I have anything more for you.
But you're gonna play for you tomorrow. That's for damn sure.
So keep an eye on the YouTube channel, the community channel, the Patreon channel, because I will be creating those events once I get home tonight. So we'll have some fun tomorrow night. Like I said, I'm going to be working the store, but we're with you guys. I'll be able to hear everything going on. I'll chime in as much as I can, but tomorrow's New Year's Eve and we have a lot of tourists in the area. But hey, I got to live in both worlds. So, all right. Brad, where can they find you?
Of course, Sorry. You guys can find me on Twitter and Vero. You can find me here or there on Facebook. And of course, you can find my writing on Kung Fu Kingdom and on Screen Rant. Of course, you can find me here on the Sci-Fi Center with doing all the AFSP stuff, all our watch parties, and breaking down stuff like whether the Rock show for Reza or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know but some of these topics we tackled tonight. I'm like, what the?
Well, the fact that it went on for as long as it did, it's like Ray, it's like you dropped a little nuke on us tonight.
Then the whole race swapping thing that basically could have been its own show. But hey, we're headed into later on today. We're gonna get more than enough of that emblem, more than enough of the cause, and hopefully we go into the new year making things a little bit better than they were coming into the day. I will see you guys tomorrow, beginning at noon. I'm going to hook up with Vince to to get that going for us. I'll get it started, and then I might join you later on in these. But Brad will be there. Brad for the raid. It's going to start at 12. Brad will be there. Trust me.
Oh yeah, I'm not leaving you guys. Larry says we just hit 3,200.
Did we? Yeah. Thank you, whoever did it. Let me see if it just updated on its own. Hey, so we're only 1,800 away from our goal here. Terry McGinnis, blame Brad. That's hilarious. Oh, that's why you're okay. Now I get it. All right, thanks, man. I am going to see you guys later on today in some form or fashion. Probably more than you ever wanted to see me. And until then, enjoy New Year's Eve up to the point where we fuck it up for you. All right, guys.
Later, guys.